Welcome to Hoop at the Son, Season 3, Episode 50, the season finale. We talk about the top 5, bottom 5 of the last 49 reality shows we watched, minus Mean Girls. All right, this is Season 51, right? It's Episode 51.
50.
This is the 5-0.
Oh, that's right. We had one
50.
show where we did the just Tattoo of Us and Tattoo Too Far or something.
How far is
Tattoo
Tattoo
far?
I can't believe they made a second season of that, by the way.
So did
The
that
power
count as the
snooki.
50? Like, how did that throw off the count? I'm confused
Mean
where you-
Girls threw off the count.
Ah, I see.
We did one show with 2 and one show with 0, so it evens out.
Boom.
There
Perfect.
you go. There you go.
Chris, why don't we figure out who's on this pod?
He couldn't care less, but this is James.
Noah Singer.
Natabeth.
It's Harrison.
Robert Kitts.
And I'm your host, Max Suflex. All right, I want to get to the topic that's on everybody's minds.
What a segue.
Do you remember the pop artist Lily Allen from like 2006?
Yes.
Of course.
Did you know her brother's Theon Greyjoy?
No.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Side tangent minutia of no import of
Max
the
had to get
pod.
But that was very valuable.
Yeah.
So the way this is going to work is we have everyone came up with their top 5 and bottom 5, and we're only going to talk about it at the most important. So if my worst show of the year is on somebody else's list, but it's listed as 5, we're going to wait till we talk about it at number 1. So as we go through this, you only hear a couple top 5, like bottom 5, then a couple bottom 4, bottom 3. We'll go through them all, but we'll talk about them at the most important level. So it's somewhat different than most people's like top 10 lists. I kind of like this way because we really talk about the worst at the worst
Yeah.
and the best at the best.
It's definitely the way to do it.
Yeah. So
And shout out to friend of the pod, not on the pod today, Brian, who did the work to take in all our lists and let us know which ones to skip and which ones not to. So we don't know each other's lists.
What a nice guy.
yeah,
Has anyone ever said that about Brian? Him being a nice guy?
Never.
No.
Never.
Yeah.
We love you, Brian.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Always a time for a first.
Yeah.
So the other thing I find interesting about this list is that we didn't use all of the stats, or at least I didn't, which was it was kind of fun to go back and like look at all the shows we had done and then rate them as I'm thinking about them now.
I definitely did this without the ratings and then looked back and like was trying to confirm which ones were top 5 and bottom, like top and bottom.
Oh yeah,
I think I did a pretty good job on the that front.
meaning like your opinions have not moved all that much, or
That's correct.
I see. So you're very stubborn, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, I'm good at eyeballing it the first time, James.
She's got good eyeballs.
And
Although
a memory like a steel trap.
Yeah.
we'll get to it. So why don't
After
we
we're
go?
done our top 5, bottom 5, also have some other dive into the stats from the season a little
Yeah, we definitely
I
need
love
to do
the
that.
stats.
I didn't really do a lot of digging in the stats this year. I know last year I did. So I think Rob did a little of that work for us.
I got little things prepared to talk about.
All right.
Before we get to the shows, Annabeth, do we have any kind of special refreshment going on during this pod?
Rob, we have the most special refreshment. This is called a Natty Daddy. Although we are drinking a 12-ounce version of the Natty Daddy, and
So-
traditionally it should be, I believe, 24, 25 ounces.
Oh man, that's a lot.
But
So
what is a Natty Daddy?
Is this a natty baby daddy?
This is a Natty Baby Daddy. Beautiful,
Okay.
beautiful. Yes, it is. We got these Natty Daddies from Rob, who procured them out of thin air, and Max was able to try the first one, which was completely frozen and delicious.
Fun fact about beer: when it's frozen, all the flavor goes into the foam, and you just get all the flavor, and it's fucking terrible.
Can you explain to me what the importance of a Natty Daddy is? I've never heard of a Natty Daddy. I've heard of Natty Light. I've heard of Natty Ice. What is a Natty Daddy?
So Natty Daddy is special because it is it's like a little bit out of the mainstream, but it is far better than the Natties that we are familiar with. So in Boston, some of my friends and I, to celebrate a great achievement in our lives, would all drink a Natty Daddy together. It was a big celebration. Some things we learned about Natty Daddies, very powerful, very powerful. It is 8% alcohol, which is strong for a beer. Another thing about Natty Daddies, they are not good when they are not very cold, which has been a bit of an issue tonight. But when we would drink them in Boston, you got to go very quickly, and if you don't go quickly enough, you must quickly chill them. But this is the first time they've hit the Seattle crew. We're learning and exploring, and now we have them in steins with ice.
Do you
Good
just,
job. Thank you.
Do you just put them outside in Boston to cool them down? Or
Yeah, it's
like-
always snowing in Boston,
Yep.
so it's
I mean,
pretty
for
easy,
like
actually.
6 months out of the year.
Yeah. You have a Yeti come by and sort of bless the daddies.
Oh,
So
I
gotta
really
get that
was hoping
Yeti.
the Yeti would deliver the daddies. You're just like, oh, here's
there's a
your
special
delivery.
service. It's like a mailman for Natty Daddy.
So is this this is the daddy of the natural light, essentially?
It is the yeah.
Right,
So the natural light is sort of the baby. This is the baby daddy, and
Yeah.
then the real daddy we will have someday, hopefully on a pod.
There's
That-
only Natty Light, Natty Ice, and Natty Daddy. There's no Natty Regular.
No.
Not to our knowledge.
Well, I
Right?
think that Natty Ice is Natty Regular. I think.
I don't know. I feel like Natty Light is like the light beer like level of alcohol. Then the Natty Ice is like the ice level of alcohol. They don't really have a regular version of alcohol.
What is it? What does the ice level of alcohol mean?
So like if you get a Bud Ice, it's like 6%.
Bud Ice.
It
I thought that was
exists.
I thought that was
Okay.
the Bud Platinum.
No.
Bud
Chris is
Platinum
correct.
is a separate drink.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So like these things exist. All right.
But Max, where you up to?
So the first time I ever heard of Natty Daddy, we were out for sushi, a couple of us with Annabeth. And at that time, I looked up what's the story behind this. The first ever Natty was Natty Light. There was no Natty Regular. It was branded Natural Light.
Wow.
All right. Well,
Natty Mommy.
Let's move on.
That was the beer review segment of the show.
All right. Who has a Let's go. Do you want to go top or bottom first?
Bottom first.
All right. So who has a bottom 5? Anyone? Anyone has a bottom 5? No
This
one
is
has number 5.
fascinating.
All right.
This means everybody chose
Brian
bottom
Missel.
5 that somebody else hated more.
That's great.
Oh no. So okay. No.
So the
No,
top.
I have one.
Okay.
I have one. So if I have a bottom that does not
Yeah.
that we are not skipping. Yeah. So, okay, let me preface my list a little bit because as you guys know, I am a newcomer to the city and the pod. And
Welcome.
here for this finale, I have watched exactly 10 shows.
Okay.
So you will find out which half are in my top and which half are in my bottom. So my list is probably very different
I'm into it.
from
This is
everyone
great.
else's.
This is a good angle, though.
Yeah.
It'll be a really good cut line. Right
A little
in the
less
middle.
perspective, I think I have. I'm sort of a fresh face. So my bottom from the 10 I watched, Opposite Worlds.
Oh.
That was pretty close to my bottom, to be honest with you.
For me, I was shocked it wasn't in my bottom 5, but I was so just aghast at what was going on in that show that it couldn't.
It was a buck wild program. I've never seen anything like it. I hope to never again.
It is.
So there were 4 worse than that.
Oh no, this is my bottom of the bottom. Oh no, I misunderstood. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
so
fine. It's
sorry.
fine. So
I'm new. I'm learning.
the way we're doing this is we get this list from Brian, right? We're reading the top.
Oh, okay. I thought we were doing the worst of the worst.
We're
Okay,
taking
okay.
stuff
We're building
out
up
of the
to the
trash
worst of the worst.
pile.
We've got this, and we've got the James scale, and it's just
Yeah.
hard to understand these
Lots of
numbers.
So wait, your
Spoiler alert, guys.
the first line of your bottom
Yes,
section
okay,
is that
okay.
a skip?
That
What
is
is-
a skip.
All
It's
right,
a skip.
so-
I'm
All right.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
And I'm really glad somebody got Opposite Worlds in here because boy was it bad, but man was
All right.
it.
Let's talk
Boy,
about.
howdy.
Let's talk about Opposite Worlds right now. Just like
yeah.
Are we doing now, Ryan? Because that is also my worst show. Then, if we're going that
It's
route.
just, we already brought it up.
We should. It's my third worst show.
Wow.
Yeah, I was.
Ooh.
The show was bad. It was not good. Like,
No,
let's be real.
I definitely agree with you. Like, just the premise. The premise of the show is like one of the more interesting premises, but then the implementation of the show is just terrible.
horribly executed. Production was just off the rails.
Should we give our listeners sort of a brief summary of each of the shows we mentioned?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Perhaps? Who wants to take this?
This one's really easy. It was the one where they put him in a house and they literally split the house in half. One was like caveman world and one was like futuristic air quotes modern world, but not really. And then basically it was way too cold and it was a disaster from a production standpoint.
It was Georgia in the middle of the winter, and it was actually cold, which they
I thought it
were
was
not.
New Orleans, but
or-
minutia.
Yeah, I think it was.
You're right.
New
You're right.
Orleans, too.
It was outside New Orleans. Sorry, I got those states mixed up.
So the people in the
Louisiana.
caveman part of the house were just fucked for the entire season.
And the challenge we saw on our episode was incredibly dangerous. Ended up someone went to the hospital, broke their leg,
Multiple
right?
people went to the hospital.
Someone else like hit their hand on the like it was like incredibly dangerous, perhaps not play tested. People are literally freezing. Like it was brutal to watch, no fun. What network was this on? Do you guys remember?
Sci-fi.
It was a
Sci-fi,
weird
yeah.
one, yeah. So maybe don't do reality shows, sci-fi.
Yeah, and I think that like we looked ahead of. So this is the spoiler part of that show. Which, if you're listening to this, please don't watch the show.
Just watch this YouTube.
But
video.
like, there was no incentive to ever give up the future house. Like, why would you ever want to live in the cave? And like, I don't. It just like on its very high level idea of you're like, oh, I could see like maybe there's a show they could make here. But then you get into it, and it's just a whole lot of nothing that comes together.
And the premise was like, it was like who's going to be better at these challenges, people from the future or people from the past, which made no sense at all. Like one
No.
group was well rested and happy and like ate
One
food.
group had a hot
and,
meal, and the other
yeah,
had a bunch
and
of
one
stale
was
bread.
just dying. Like and it wasn't like in a fun way where you like laughed and watched it. It was like, oh, I kind of feel bad for these people. And then the people in the future house also sort of felt bad, but there was this weird tension. Like no fun on any level.
Harrison, what do you have to say about this show?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree with most of the sentiments you guys have been saying. I mean, it was the production quality was pretty low. It seems like it might have been kind of a little bit irresponsibly produced. Like I think that like when you're on one of these reality shows, you're really putting like your safety and well being into the hands of these producers. And I don't know if they really did an awesome job on this one, but yeah, terrible show. Seemingly completely unwatchable. It's a competition show that by the nature of it, they created an imbalanced competition. And it was crazy.
Did it make anyone else's bottom list?
It did not make
people
my
see?
bottom list.
It did not. Interesting.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
That's actually like a theme in the little preview of the stats. So I was not as many pods as I usually was. How many bottom thirds do you think I handed out the entire season?
There were 50 episodes.
49.
14.
No,
Way too high.
it's way lower. I'm gonna say it's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm with James.
I'm gonna go with 8.
5.
7.
7.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Nailed it.
Collusion.
So it was actually like my bottom, trying to go bottom 5. I was like, my 5th one, I was like, it's not that bad. So I was like, when I was listening to Opposite World Pods, I was like, I really missed out on a good, terrible one. I really should have boosted my
Gotten in
stats
there.
on.
I missed out
Watch
on this
those
too.
people.
I'm now intrigued to watch it.
Oh no, that's the wrong
Here-
response.
Okay,
It's such a no
let me
response.
let me sum up this conversation to you with there's a YouTube video that we all watched, and the title of this YouTube was "Worst Reality Show of All Time." Go watch that. It was pretty entertaining. Gives you a good sense of this show and what we're discussing in a much more humorous tone than what we actually went over. So, anyone have the top 5 as in your 5th show, not your first show?
5th best.
5th best show.
Best worst.
Wait, we're flipping to the top 5. We're not
No,
doing.
So we're going to bottom 5, top, bottom.
5,
Oh,
5,
so- oh,
This
5,
is-
5, 4, 4,
oh,
3, 3.
wild
Yeah.
format.
I
didn't
did
catch
not
that.
understand that, but I'm into it. And
Okay.
yes, I do.
All right, Max, what do you got?
Does anybody else?
the bottom of the top. I have one of those
Your
as well.
My
fifth
least
best,
favorite
not
favorite.
skipped.
Yes, I
I
have
don't
one.
know why this is so confusing.
I feel it wasn't this confusing last time.
I feel not great about this one.
That's fine.
It's X on the Beach US. I thought it was fun to watch. I watched a couple more episodes after it. It was like 3 or 4 episodes. Had a couple people I knew from the challenge. It was pretty watchable. And the whole oh no, it's the X walks out of the water type thing. It's kind of fun. I didn't finish the season. I think it just speaks to how many bad shows we watched.
Wow.
All right.
Max, I have to back you up here because this is also coming in at my number 5 on the top.
Oh.
And you know how much I don't like all these love bullshit that
Yeah.
we've been getting into, but I think this is case in point that we went too heavy in the love segment. Because as I reflected through, there was way too many love shows, so I had just one of them had to get in there,
I'm looking at the waveform when
And it's this one?
and it's this one.
Oh yeah.
I'm
It's
looking
fine.
at the waveform when all of us said "oh," and it's great. It's just chock full.
Max, can you explain the show a bit for
Yeah,
people that do not actually know
Yeah,
what this is?
we gotta keep keep the small explainer going. So thank you for calling me out. X on the Beach is a dating show where you have like 8 people who don't know each other or something in a house, and they're hanging out, and slowly, like, out of the depths of the ocean crawl one of their exes, or sometimes 2, which is fucking wild. And they join the house, and you just have like your ex there, and then somebody gets voted out of the house. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's your ex, sometimes it's just a rando.
Yeah. My opinion of the show is that the premise was a little weak. I didn't. That it was fine. It was fine. From what I remember, I don't remember what my ranking was, but I don't remember it being very high.
Would you like to know what your ranking was?
Sure.
Let's go
Bottom
to Rob's.
third.
Oh, that's fine.
Not surprising.
A top of the bottom.
Oh, I actually gave a James ranking on that one?
I have a James ranking for you.
All right.
Top of the bottom.
Annabeth, you said that you also had a top, your least
I
favorite
do,
of your
yeah.
top 5.
One moment.
Show.
Let me pull up my list. My least favorite of my top 5. Okay, so I didn't remember this at first when I reviewed the shows I've seen for the pod, but then I listened to our pod on it, and I was again charmed by the premise of this show, and it barely scraped into my top. Take Me Out.
Oh yeah.
Take Me Out was very pleasant. If you don't remember, Take Me Out is the show where these men came out onto a game show kind of format, and there are all these women lined up with buzzers, and the men get like sort of a little interview. They have some like videos play about them, and at any moment the women can buzz out that they do not want to date this man, and at the end, if there are any women left, he can kind of choose who he wants to go on a date with. And then you see sort of a little montage of the dates that happened from the show previous. That was kind of like strange and adorable. But I didn't really remember this show because I never watched any more of it, but I listened to our pod on it, and I remembered that we had a rip-roaring good time buzzing out when all these men came out, and it was so fun. So barely in the top 5.
I gotta be honest with you. It was in consideration for my 5th best show.
Ooh.
It's If You Are the One, George Lopez American Edition.
Right, hosted by George Lopez.
Oh, I forgot that George Lopez hosted that show. Oh my gosh.
Have we ever subjected you to the Chinese one?
No.
Oh, we
my
gotta
That's
go.
what I was going to
So-
ask. 'cause this
but I'm
is
sure
the
I'll
If You
love
Are the
it.
One.
Yeah,
yeah.
This is If You Are the One
Yeah.
US version.
Oh, you would. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna love that one.
So this is the thing. If You Are the One, Chinese version was in my top 5 for season 2.
Excellent.
And that was partly why I was like, I'm going to leave this one out. It wasn't quite as good. So we definitely got to treat you to a few If You Are the Ones, including like, after we watched If You Are the One Chinese, I watched some random ones on my own on Daily Motion. And there was one episode I had to tell Max, I was like, I just saw this crazy episode. Oh my God.
Are we talking about Meng Shui?
We're talking about the pig guy.
Oh yeah. Pig
I
guy.
cannot wait. I am so excited.
So some minutia on this one is I went through and ranked all of the shows, and Take Me Out was the only show that I was like, what the fuck was this show?
It definitely has the least
I had
memorable
to
name.
Google it, and I was like, oh yeah, that American did.
Oh yeah,
It's
that
the
Franz Ferdinand
title.
song.
The title doesn't make any sense. The
was
title
like,
doesn't match
I'm-
to anything.
This I got nothing. I don't know. So
Is that show still live?
no,
Definitely
that was like
done?
a 2008 show. The
Oh,
only
okay.
reason we did it was because we liked If You Are the One so much.
And then we don't like George Lopez.
I mean,
now
it
he was
made-
bad in that.
It made somebody's top 5.
It's
so-
true. But
I
not
mean-
because George Lopez.
Not because
no,
George Lopez.
no, because the format was hilarious, and I think mainly it was watching with other people was really fun.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun to be in a room together and watch these guys come out. I listened to our pod on it. There was a guy with a deep V. George Lopez asked some of the girls what they wear to sleep. Like, it is so weird and like hilarious to watch as a team. I would highly recommend.
You definitely have to watch If You Are the One. Or no, is that the?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the- okay. I keep forgetting if that's the one or it's the other show that
confusing
you
with
guys
Are
watch.
You the One?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, why are they all called the same name?
If You Are the One
I don't
and
know.
Are You the
Yeah.
One are different. But both dating shows, James.
I'll
So
just
you know,
give
both
you-
right up your alley.
Let's give some. If You Are the One is the same show, but it is an Australian subbed version of a Chinese show, which is very odd.
It's very good.
All right, so bottom number 4. I have a bottom number 4. Does anyone else raise your hand if you have one?
I think I do.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
So
I
my
do.
bottom number 4 right now is Ghost Adventures.
Oh.
Ooh.
It is so bad. I can't. So Ghost Adventures is your typical, I'm going to go into a house and find a ghost. And I can't stand this kind of stuff because it's so fake. And this was like, we watched a really early episode, so they had no idea what they were doing. It was just like, it was just so bad. I can't believe it's number 4 on this list, to be honest with you. And another, I guess, minor minutia update is I've seen all of these episodes. I've been on all of the episodes of the pod this season. So like when some of these other like bottom 5 or whatever come out, like these are the ones that I consider the worst out of them all.
Chris is the expert.
The opposite
He has
of ABC on
he
this
has
one.
dealt with all of this trash.
All
It's
50.
true. My bottom 5, I'm sure we'll get into how many's in that. You'll find out.
I also had to put Ghost Adventures at my number 5 worst or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was no good.
It was
there was just nothing interesting about it, and it just wasn't believable and just bad.
it just wasn't fun.
Yeah,
Like,
it was boring.
Like I understand we watched that stupid Sasquatch show a couple seasons ago.
But it was funny to watch.
It was entertaining. I'll give you that. But it was just like this was not entertaining. Just like trying to make it serious, but obviously they're not finding ghosts in these houses. So like, just I can't get it.
I was mildly entertained by Ghost Adventures, just how stupid it was. It was so stupid. I kind of liked it. Not enough that I ever watched another episode, but like we've made Ghost Adventures at least had some references that were good to refer back to, like putting the X's down for where they're going to put the cameras later. Like, just put a camera there now. What are you doing?
That the ghosts aren't there yet, dude.
They only have one camera.
Yeah, that's the thing. They only have one camera.
This was such a second-rate production. Like,
Well, it was like season 1 or something we watched, and they've
just-
done like 12 seasons or something, which is nuts.
Wow.
do you think they've gotten better like ghost technology in the 12 seasons they've done?
Do you think we need to revisit? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm out. If you want to do that, I'm not showing up.
What channel was this on?
Discovery, maybe?
I think I don't know. Fuck, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Chris ain't watching.
Ghost
Oh.
Channel.
I think it might have been TLC actually, but I
Yeah,
don't know.
I was just saying, like, who has the money to put up for the show, right? That's all.
I think that I'm pretty sure it gets way better after this like beta season that we watched. But all right, James, you said you had a number 4. What's your
do.
number 4?
It is. I'm curious how people feel about this one because I had to like double check myself. But Holiday Baking Championship.
Yeah, that was not a good one.
Yeah, I thought about putting that one in my bottom also.
Yeah, like I hesitated a little because I'm like, was it really that bad? And then I thought about it, and it was. It was just a bad food show. Like it wasn't particularly good. There wasn't anyone of note really that was in the show or hosting the show. It was also like at a weird time. Like I felt like the holiday. I can't remember. Do you guys remember what it was? It was like Christmas holiday baking or something.
Yeah, it's all Christmas themed baking.
Yeah, but then they couldn't call it Christmas because they wanted it to be more generic. So it was
Yep.
like this holiday bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was like they went from like Thanksgiving stuff to others, and I don't know. It was just flat and blah.
I can't believe you said hosted by nobody. Hosted by Bachelor alum Jesse Palmer,
Ooh.
AKA
who has
nobody.
hosted multiple shows we've done this season.
That's fucked.
So James,
Yeah.
it was called Holiday Baking Championship because it started in October.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell this. That's why it was just dumb. Like it just
So,
was just bad. They
what
were
is
just,
it?
They were just trying to ride like. I think it was just like your standard recipe like cooking challenge shows. There's like I don't know 10 or plus contestants who are just average at best cooks. I think like they're really nobodies. And then they just come on and like each week they have them bake. So like it was in October, so I think they were doing like some sort of pie or something. And then they eliminated somebody and then rinse repeat. But it was like it was just
So this
yeah,
is
that's all it was.
This is
It
an
was just
air
nothing.
filler. This is a
Yeah.
I have a cooking network and I need to fill fucking 24 hours a day of cooking shows. So people like to watch people bake slightly worse than you or slightly better than you. So this is the show we're going to go on because you don't want you to watch like people making gourmet food because they're not making that. Right. So I understand why people would like it and why people would produce it. And I understand how terrible it is.
I think the air filler is really good sum up of the show. Like this show could be on. We could be having a full conversation and be none the wires the show is on and be perfectly fine.
It is the least imaginative show I think we watched.
I think that's why it stayed off my bottom 5. Like I was trying to rank this and I'm like, I don't remember. I like just don't remember. So many of these shows this season, I'm just like, I don't know. Like nothing.
There's
just
also
nothing.
a spring baking championship.
What the?
If you're interested in the exact same thing 6 months later.
I'm sure it's the same thing.
It's
Like,
exactly the same thing, but
Less
spring
cinnamon.
themed. Less cinnamon.
Spring, I'm sure that they're just rolling them. Like there's going to be like a summer one.
I know there's at least a spring one. I haven't checked all possible permutations, but I stumbled across the spring one day, and I was like, "What is this? Oh no!"
Do you think they just make peeps and that's it?
ABC,
1 week.
I think you have a bottom 4 to talk about.
Yeah, I do. So my 4th worst show
Yeah.
is Lindsay Lohan's Beach House.
Oh,
4th worst.
Boo.
Oh man, the
Yeah.
first appearance of MTV on the worst list always gets a lot of hate from these MTV lovers.
I see that. I knew this would maybe be a contentious choice, but
Hey,
again, I
I-
didn't have a lot to work with, and I was not very compelled by this show.
I'm the resident MTV hater, so I approve your.
okay,
your slate.
good.
I'm with you, Rob.
I also
You
didn't
mean-
see
aren't
this
you with
one, but
ABC?
why?
Yeah, I didn't
what
see
was
it
the?
either.
Give me the.
So
No, I
the
didn't see it.
Sure. So the show is Lindsay Lohan is starting a new life, opening a beach house, which is like not really. It's like a club. It's like a day club on the beach. There are like a lot of like cabanas you can rent. There are like chairs you can rent. She's hired all these Americans to work there. I forget where the location is. Like maybe
Mykonos.
Greece. Mykonos.
Mykonos.
Yeah. So
Chris
she's
knows all about it.
she's got all these Americans working there, and it's kind of like your typical MTV. Like all the Americans live in a house, they all work at this place together, they all get drunk. The like responsibilities of working at the house are very weird. Like you're just kind of promoting like alcohol purchasing, and you're like partying with people. There's this one guy who has to like ends up just making out with an exclusive VIP guest to sell her alcohol. It's very strange. Lindsay's their boss. She comes in, has one-on-ones with them. It is bamboozling to me.
You're describing an amazing show. It sounds like right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was a little more excited for this than it sort of delivered on is the thing, because I think it maybe sounds better than I thought it was. Like I didn't really enjoy it as much as I wanted to.
Well,
It could have been more batshit.
It's similar to the opposite worlds of there's a good premise here that
Yeah.
has not been well executed.
It doesn't really deliver, and it doesn't really have like all the kind of exciting things about it are just like done better in other MTV shows. Like this is not that great.
curious here.
So, as if you've listened to the pod, I have watched the whole season of Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club, which is, a resounding achievement for your show. But when I say I watched it, it was like I was barely watching it, and I just loved how crazy Lindsay Lohan was. I think that Lindsay Lohan being crazy really pulled me in. She's like, I'm the boss. I gotta fire people. We were firing people, and I'm just like, what? Where is this coming? What? Why? And then she goes and fires people, and she hates it. She's gotta fire people, and like. Just the dynamic between the people and Lindsay Lohan's like boss friend that was also the boss. It was just so good. And you got a little bit of it in the first episode, which kept me watching, but I could see how it's kind of a nothing burger, because when I say I watched it, like it was on the side.
Yeah.
So like it is what it is. And like out of 10 shows, sure, put it at number 6 or whatever.
Chris, did this show up in your top 5?
It does not.
Ooh.
I mean, ABC, did you have an actual number 5 bottom that you had to talk about?
No, it got skipped.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Ooh.
All
Let's
right.
skip.
I'm assuming everyone else skipped their bottom. No?
I have one more.
Oh, coming from behind.
So clocking in at my fourth worst show, we have Very Cavallari.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that,
what?
Wow.
that was my top 5 worst.
Top 5. Okay, that was your
number
number 5.
five.
Yeah, so you
worst.
just beat me out. Yeah,
I cannot believe you hating on Jay Cutler like that.
I know.
Here's
it was
okay.
so bad.
Man, you
Here's-
threw the cut under a bus?
Hey,
He's
cuts-
cutting the cut.
the cut's been throwing me under a bus for a long time.
Oh.
That's true. As a Chicago fan, you
So-
you'll have a little bit.
Very Cavallari is about Kristen Cavallari and her husband, former Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler, living in Nashville, Tennessee. And Kristen Cavallari is attempting to launch some sort of jewelry brand. And that's kind of most of what's going on. And it kind of alternates between, Kristen going out and trying to figure out how to launch her jewelry brand, doing all this stuff, and then going back to her husband, Jay Cutler, who's a retired football player, basically just sitting around their house doing nothing, looking at animals,
Watching those
I
deer
mean,
videos.
The
watching
Cutler bits
deer
of this show,
videos. Okay, but but here's the thing. Like, the Cutler bits of that show are actually pretty good, but it speaks to how bad the show is that I couldn't even keep watching it to watch Jay Cutler
Watch deer.
watch deer on that show. So I mean,
This show had such high highs and such low lows.
I just think that you focus this show on Jay Cutler a little bit more, and you might have a winner on your hands. But as is, we're not looking great.
So why don't we just get like a Jay Cutler kind of show? Like, why is that not the thing?
I feel like that's coming someday.
So
I feel like whoever's producing Very Cavallari is like,
They're priming them.
I got this gold right here that I'm not fully exploiting yet, and then it's only a matter of time.
How
But,
are they
like,
going to cut the wife out, though?
They rebrand to Barely Cavallari.
Oh.
It's a spin-off. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
spin-off.
yeah.
You just got to figure out what's the premise of the Jay Cutler show. Like, I definitely had Very Cavallari pretty low on my list, but like Jay Cutler kept it out of the bottom 5. 'Cause,
Yeah.
if there was some YouTube video, which maybe exists, of just show me every Jay Cutler scene, I'd probably watch the whole thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
I could see watching that.
Yeah, so
If
Jay Cutler has an Instagram, which is
Ooh.
basically what you're asking for, Rob.
Maybe I'll add the cut on the gram.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm just so shocked because not many reality shows have a character like Jay Cutler who really don't give a shit that they're on TV.
It's so good.
And I found that quite appealing.
It's like he has made so much money playing football that he doesn't care at all what they're asking him to do, or he's just going to do whatever he wants to do, and if the cameras happen to be around to catch it, sure.
I mean, is it a fair statement that that's also how he played football?
I mean, that's also true.
Ooh.
That's also fair.
It is true, though. Like, I had to watch his last year in Miami, and that was about the same way he threw the football in Miami.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care who's watching, where they tell me to throw the ball. I'm just going to go do whatever I want to do. Can I get another cig?
Where's my next billion?
I remember
Yeah.
I shared some link that described him as beloved reality TV show character Jay Cutler. That's so good.
Oh
I
man.
think it was The Ringer. Had to be The Ringer.
If I shared it, it was like there's an 80% chance of
Yeah.
So, James, if you want to know our theories on why the show exists, you can listen to our pod because we definitely talked about it.
I was on the pod, no?
Yeah.
Well, you've
You can
totally
listen to
forgot.
that.
James is definitely on
You're definitely on the pod. We talked about
Oh,
why
I
the
got
show
called out.
exists. Because the
I mean, I still
Cavallari,
can't believe it
the
does
person
exist.
that Jay Cutler married was a reality show star before they got married.
Yeah, he just got to
Well,
break
it's just
up.
like that.
Move
It's
on.
obvious that's why that show exists.
I just love Jay Cutler like dicking around with like the parking cones on his driveway.
Oh, that was so
Oh,
good.
that was like
great.
the best moment in the show.
Honestly,
He's like, "Oh, my wife's friends keep parking on the grass. I'm gonna go out there and put some big orange cones so they can't park there anymore." That was the most entertainment I got.
I agree with you, Harrison, except for the Jay Cutler bits. Keeps it off the bottom 5.
All right.
It was close. Max, you have anything more you want to say about it?
Not about this show, but I do have a bottom. My
Number
fourth-
4 top.
Yes. No, my number 4 bottom.
Number 4 bottom. Oh,
We were still going through number 4
yeah.
bottom.
Yeah.
I thought we were done.
Do you remember How Far Is Tattoo Far?
Yes.
It was a roughly 22-minute show on MTV where two friends dare each other to go through getting a tattoo. and this show sucked. But there's a show that sucks more than it, which is the British show that spawned it, Just Tattoo of Us, because it's like fucking an hour long.
Is that not your number 4?
That
Both of them are your number 4?
Just Tattoo of Us is my number 4 least favorite show.
Okay.
It was so fucking boring. It was so fucking
Are you
long.
saying you didn't want the chastity
It's
belt
getting
tattoo?
worked up.
No, so here's the thing. All the tattoos were very funny, but all the tattoos were like 5 minutes of the show.
Yeah. We definitely talked about that.
There is one interesting thing to note about the show, which is it is our first introduction to a character named Bear, a current challenge contestant.
Oh, Bear
He was
on?
on that?
Yeah, he was one of the
Oh.
hosts.
He
Bear was. I
hosted?
totally forgot that Bear was the host.
Wow.
It was
Man.
him and a girl. The girl got her face tattooed on a guy.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, you're talking about Cara Maria, right?
No.
No, no,
No.
You talking about the UK one or the US?
Talking
one?
about the UK one.
Yeah.
no. Oh.
All right. Long story short, this show fucking sucks. Fun fact: Bear is currently in the news in the UK for posting an Instagram with a girl in a bikini. Oh, she's 15. Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So much drama in MTV Cinematic
Yeah.
Universe.
I
You need the MTV drama.
I agree
I'm
with you, Max. Those shows were not good.
Fucking sucked. Like somebody said it best as like I'd watch it as a like Snapchat show that's a minute long.
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
it as a Snapchat.
Oh,
it
shit.
is a Snapchat show.
What?
I was in Snapchat one day and I watched a whole episode of this tattoo show in like a minute, and I just kind of tapped through it and saw the tattoos.
Holy
and I thought,
shit.
cool.
Yeah.
They
Excellent
did it.
Snapchat
They
show.
did it. It seemed right for Snapchat, but I was like, I was bamboozled that they could make it a whole program.
They did it.
They didn't.
They did it.
All right. Yeah.
All right. So you got on the top number 4. Your number 4 best show of season 3. I have one, and I'll start
Ooh.
out. We got Churchill's Secret Agents.
Ooh.
Number
Oh,
4.
good pick. Good pick. I like it.
You sure you don't got to skip that one?
Yeah. You sure?
Oh, I can't read on the next line.
Chris has done it again.
I did it again. There's a skip on the next line.
I'm glad you called it out, Rob, because I was like, wait, am I doing this wrong?
So I guess we'll talk about
We'll
my
talk about
number
now.
2 show.
My
Yeah.
number 2 show.
Yay!
Sorry about that,
This
guys.
is a great show.
Yes.
All right.
I liked it. I really liked it. So Churchill's Secret Agents is this British show where they try to recreate the secret agent training from World War II. I think it was World War II.
Yes.
So they take modern day people and they like try to explain this training and actually go through this training. Everyone was super like involved and like into it, and it was really cool to see these people like actually go through this training, and like you get to learn more about how actually agents got trained and like go on these scary dangerous missions, and like watch the whole season. It was really good, and I'm sorry for ruining this game again.
It's all right. Yeah, like I also watched the whole season, and like we've watched some History Channel shows where it seems very forced that they're trying to tie a history thing to their just like random reality show. But Churchill's Secret Agents does a great job of being like, it does have historical things. It goes in like documentary mode, just teaches us stuff. But it also is clearly like here are some future social media influencers who are just going through a reality show competition kind of thing. And it's like, but that part of it is like really well done and really fun. And like, you know, they'll just randomly, like in the middle of the episode, they'll be like, all right, we're just kicking some people off now. Because like we decide they're not cutting this training course. And it's great. So I really like that show.
Yeah, I like the diversity of characters. Like you have a bunch of old people and younger people building on Rob's point, like just like history or their social media influencers and trying to get on another damn show. But also like that, I was just generally confused at the beginning if this was a documentary or a reality show, which gives it credit to how well it was produced. And the challenges were pretty fun, like the rafting thing they had to do, and then they had like the actual like math or brain test
Yeah.
instead of just like a physical test. Yeah, all around put well together.
I also think the show did a good job of like building up the characters, like you cared about the different people on the show in a smart way. Like we complain about lots of shows don't do a good job of that, and even after like one episode, there were certain people who were like, oh, that guy, yeah.
Yeah, this is a BBC show, so like maybe we need to do more BBC shows.
Oh,
I mean, it was on Netflix, so
Yeah, but
one
what
of
is
the BBC shows are on Netflix.
But it's the you know, it was produced by BBC.
I know,
so-
but like, are there other fake Netflix originals that are actually BBC shows?
There's a
we should
bunch
be
of-
watching?
Top Gear. I don't know.
Oh, that's
there's a bunch of British shows on Netflix. We
All
did
right.
one of them. I don't think it made anyone's list, but
Well,
we
we'll
can
see.
talk
We
about it
can
later.
come back
maybe.
to that.
Maybe leading up to July 4th, we should do British month, not Commonwealth month.
Oh, and then we free ourselves from British
yeah. Hey,
month?
quite on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right,
see.
Rob, you have a number 4.
I have
That
a
is
number
an actual
4.
number 4.
It doesn't say skip, so
Okay.
it is solitary.
Oh yeah, that almost made mine too. So good.
So it's like
Baby Pod.
all of my top 5s. I actually watched at least one entire season of the show, which was not
Ooh.
like my criteria. But then when I looked back, I was like, oh, that makes sense. So we watched the show, which is like this very strange kind of low budget show where they just put these people in these pods. They're isolated and they have a GLaDOS style voice. If you've played Portal, just like gives them random commands and they've got to like compete, but they can't see each other. And sometimes they're not allowed to sleep and stuff like that. And it's just a very interesting show of how like these different people react to this kind of weird situation. And it also helped that there was Rob, who had studied previous seasons of the show and was just very into everything that was going on. That really like was very entertaining. So I had a lot of fun with Solitary on watched it on the YouTube. I don't remember what actual channel it was on, but
It was
it's all
on-
on Rob's YouTube channel.
I believe this is on our favorite Sci-Fi Network.
No,
was
no,
on-
no. It's on the Fox Reality Network.
Oh, that's right.
on-
It was on the Shin Chan Reality Network. Doesn't exist.
Fox Reality.
Thank you for clarifying. It feels like a Sci-Fi Network production, though.
I am. Sorry. Continue.
I mean, that's mostly all I had.
I definitely like the show. I like didn't make my top 5, but
It's just like I've never seen a reality show like that. It's just so strange. It kind of feels like a little bit unethical, and it's like it's good. I like it.
Rob always has this like really great recommendations of like sort of the very early parts of reality shows where like the hen really figured stuff out. And this made me wonder, like, wait, wasn't the mole this season? No, it was like second to last of last season.
Yeah, no, the mole was in my season 2 top
I can't
5
believe it's
door.
been that long. That's
It's been a
wild.
while.
But yeah, Solitary was like weird, funny, fun.
Solitaire is a Harrison recommendation.
Yeah.
So gotta give Harrison
Oh.
credit on that.
Good job.
Yeah.
so James, you have a number 4.
No. So I had a quick pausing question as a break it up segment. So I'm noticing people have finished their Natty Daddies, and I'm curious, how do
Oh.
people feel about the Natty Daddies compared to last season's finale drink, which I believe was the Redneck Margarita? Am I remembering right?
I don't
It
forget
had
the
to be.
finale, but we did
Had
it
to
close
be.
to the finale. for
Okay.
sure.
So plus
Oh.
or minus compared to Redneck Margaritas, where do we stand?
It's more
Annabeth, I don't
drink-
know if you've had Redneck Margaritas, so
I
we'll have
have
to fix
not.
that. Separate question.
I don't. I'm not drinking a Natty Daddy due to my diet, but like I can almost guarantee you a Natty Daddy tastes better than a Redneck Margarita.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and confirm that. Definitely the Natty Daddy's better than the Redneck Margarita.
Also gonna agree.
I don't think anyone's going to be defending the Redneck Margarita.
Okay, there you have it. Redneck Margarita, bottom of the bottom for who put this on drinks. Natty Daddy looking okay.
I know it drinks worse than that, but on the pod, sure. Does anyone have a number 4 again?
I do.
You have a number 4.
This is number 4 top.
This is your top 4 show.
My top 4 show was Night Fight.
Okay.
Night Fight.
Impossible.
I was into it. Of the 10 shows I saw, I was very delighted that it exists. It exposed me to a whole new world that I didn't know existed at all. Also, afterwards, we looked up more night fights on YouTube, which I'll never forget. Like
That was wild.
like
There
it was
remember
like
us
a
watching that?
20v20 night fight. Like it was like
With like these
unbelievable.
knights wearing GoPros and stuff, like up close in action shot. It was wild. I would definitely recommend watching some of these YouTube clips. Like just get a good short one that's like shows a big battle scene. I was very surprised.
It's quite good. So, so
Yeah.
what the show is, it's I think it was like 3 or how many? It was like 3. Oh, it
Yeah,
was
it's
like
like kind of
6
a
knights come
handful,
out,
yeah.
and then they eliminate half of them, and they do like a couple different kind of things to get down to the top knight of that episode. And they have like a special weapon they have to fight with. It's all these guys who like
It's like
who
era
compete.
appropriate, sort of like, you know, it's a weapon from that era that matches this style. And I think even the show we watched, it was like Ireland versus somebody, and so it was kind
Yeah.
of
It was
themed a bit of the historic part.
It was like
Historic
Wales or
battle.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
was
thought it was unlike anything I'd seen, and I was kind of into it, and I was kind of like I was just kind of happy that like they gave this to me, this present. So that was my thought on Night Fight.
I have a couple statements on this. Is that so like as we just talked about Churchill secret agents, like history's done well there. The History Channel does a terrible job at like doing the history, and like, oh, they use a weapon from some certain time period, makes it history, like quote unquote history. So it's like that's our contrasting take on history reality show.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the like, there's not a lot of history in this. I think overall this is a pretty like light kind of show that you would like. I don't know if I'd need to watch the whole season, but like I like having it on. I liked watching it with people. I thought it was like overall very pleasant.
The second thing I want to say about this is that the YouTube videos are amazing, and the show was one of the most boring shows this season. Nothing show, and I'm like, if you were actually like the YouTube video, like get some GoPros, get some shots of the like. They're lumbering around, whatever, but at least like give us the action shots from like some different angles and stuff. That would have maybe elevated the show to like past, you know, I can't deter everyone's top 4, but like,
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I
feel like
agree with
oh,
that. I
yeah.
just think it was like even without that, it was cool. And then when we looked it up, like I wouldn't have even known to look it up. Like I was just kind of happy that this
It like
happened.
introduced this whole new thing. Yeah, I agree.
it was very like I had very highly anticipated watching the show, and it was just very disappointing. I think that's also part of it. It just sounds really cool, and then it just wasn't.
Hey,
That's
different
fine.
strokes.
Different strokes. All right. Anyone else have number 4? ABC, I have a question for you. Did you actually have a number 5 on your bottom 5?
I did. It was skipped.
Okay. They was just seeing if you needed to not skip it.
Don't worry.
Does anyone have their third worst show? All right, Rob, what do you got for us?
My third worst show was The Simple Life.
Oh, that was my 5th worst show.
Also my 5th worst.
Wow.
All right. I can see that.
Yeah, this show was just real boring. I don't know like what else to say about this show because like
What
nothing.
was the show?
So the show is Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie decide they're going to leave their, glamorous lifestyle
Their posh
behind
life.
and go live the simple life on a farm, and and so they fly out on their private jet to some state. I don't remember what state they flew.
Middle of nowhere. So I actually thought the show was like, it sounded interesting, and I was like, oh, you guys are gonna watch it. I had to miss it for whatever reason. But like, why was it like? Why do you think it missed the mark? Or like, what made it not interesting?
Well, it really like the show hinges on the personalities of Paris and Nicole, who do not have much personality.
I see. So they were just kind of blah, and uninteresting.
And so the second part of the episode we saw, they get a job and they're working on a dairy farm, and they're just like not doing a good job and not really trying. And at one point when they're on the job, they go hang out in the hot tub on the farm, and the guy's like, I guess I gotta fire you guys now. And it just seemed super fake and weird, but just like was not fun. And like it really needed to be more fun to kind of to work for me.
I mean, this is definitely close to being another case of like the people on the reality show have too much money to care about what the people who are producing the reality show want them to do. I think.
I gotta disagree with that.
Really?
Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie have taken every advantage, especially at the time of that show, to self-promote themselves. Like I think they were playing a hammed up character.
Well, I mean,
No doubt.
it was probably like a hammed up character, but like they clearly weren't going to make any effort in like the spirit of the show to like actually live the simple life and do this work or whatever. They're basically just there to like goof on all these people who are like living the simple life.
But that's their character. Like that's what I mean. Like they're taking a farm job to see how do they play their character on the farm job. Right, their character is let's go in a hot tub on the farm job.
Yeah, sure.
right? That's what I'm saying, like no, that like, and they're working to do that. That's what I'd say. Like I think that takes effort for them to figure out how to be the ditzy blonde at the farm.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, so you think that they're just working overtime and like acting a whole bunch? Yeah.
A whole bunch, right? Like I think that is their job. Like how do I ham it up?
But they didn't do a good enough job of being interesting. Was the problem?
No, yeah, the show's not great. I couldn't put it in the bottom because I respect the historic like value of the show. I know.
What? Hold up. What the historic value
What does
of
this
the show?
mean?
What is this? Can you explain?
Specifically, Paris Hilton, like she created all the social media influencers. Like she was the first one to create something out of literally nothing.
I'm going to agree with Noah on this. There is some weird historical value to all of this.
Yeah. So I found it hard to say, just based on the show, put it there because there's something there.
I'm not sure that she created something out of nothing. Like her family has this giant hotel empire that she has like the name of it and like became famous like because of this whole thing and had all these advantages because she has this money and is like rich. I wouldn't say that she's like a self-made like celebrity rich person. Like
There are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of people in that position, right?
All right. I think we're done with talking this show.
You don't want to go into Paris Hilton tangent?
I don't even really want to.
We'll pick this back up if we ever do Keeping Up with the Kardashians on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
To be continued, Harrison.
Noah, I think you had a number your bottom third show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I got a bottom.
What was your bottom third show, Noah?
My bottom third, Game of Clones.
Ooh.
Fair.
That was my fourth
Yep.
worst show.
Okay.
That was on my notables for
All right,
bottoms.
yeah, it's down there. The idea of it, kind of cute, right? Let's find out someone's...
Well, what is the premise?
yeah, that's all I was
Oh,
going to
okay.
get to.
You're like kind of cute. The premise, and I'm like, what is
going
the
on.
premise?
Keep going.
Thank you. Let's find out someone's ideal crush or girlfriend, and so in this case, it was Pauly D and Vinny. For
Sounding a little questionable now.
what? Did I get it wrong?
Like Vinny was not involved with Game of Clones.
Oh no! So it was just Pauly. It's just Pauly D. Who
Just
was the other
Pauly.
one? Okay.
Some other girl.
Oh, it was the girl side. The
She
girl
was-
side,
She
right?
was a teen mom.
Yeah. So Pauly D and he liked.
Megan Fox.
Thank you. My memory's not doing great. Megan Fox. They brought in all the foxes. Yeah, and then the girl liked Quavo.
Yeah,
Right.
Quavo.
Yeah.
Yeah, the team on liked Quavo.
You were very unhappy we were not as familiar with Quavo as you were.
Oh yeah, I'm still unhappy about that. For the record, so they bring on 8 or 7 lookalikes that were barely passable lookalikes. But
It's like, yeah, they're white and they have black hair.
We dyed their hair dark.
Yeah.
yeah, but what really took me off of the show was how they teed up the question and answer part of it with the iPads. So they do this part of the show that's not an elimination, but more of get to know you. That gives the celebrity more signal on the lookalikes to see who they want to date further. The questions were just, what do you call them? Lobs? Gimmies?
Yeah. Well,
Layups?
sometimes they weren't.
Layups? Yeah.
Sometimes they weren't. But a lot of them were just like, would you rather be alive or dead?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Close. That is your problem with that show, Noah?
That was the primary problem.
That's what
What?
tipped it the freaking
What?
iPad
So,
questions? There's so much worse in this show.
Right? I'm just like,
So
Like,
please,
the fact that
add
they're
on.
all clones and you can't really tell them apart at all, so you don't know what you're watching.
They weren't that cloney.
and it just was like super fakey. Like it was just nothing was interesting. Obviously, Pauly didn't go anywhere with this because he started another show where he was gonna find true love. So
Yeah.
like clearly the format doesn't work.
What I will say is sort of the moment of reveal of that girl walking into a room of Quavos was fucking insane, and then there was another 21 minutes attached to that.
Exactly. This is only interesting as the like lookalikes are, right? And then once you see them, you're like, okay, I get it. It's a bunch of Megan Foxes. Let's move on. That's all you want to see. I
And
think
they weren't
again,
even
it's an Instagram,
and they
Snapchat
weren't even
kinda-
that good Megan Foxes. It's
No.
like, if they had been
They're
like,
terrible.
wow, these are 7 like insanely good lookalikes, I think it might have been passable.
Sure.
It's like, I guess they kind of look like Megan Fox, and now we just have a very boring, bland kind of dating show going on that's not interesting. Like it really fell apart.
I think MTV should have just laid into this one and like gone all out. Be like, okay, let's pick like we're gonna do Megan Fox like from the Transformers. We're gonna have the car like just go all the way, right? Like go
Reenact all the
most-
All right,
Transformers too.
guys, we talked about the show on the podcast.
You gotta have a
Here's
photo
Moving on.
of
You are-
Megan Fox that they all look like.
But would it be better if they were
Does-
naked?
Does anyone
Yes.
else have a number bottom third? Okay. ABC, what do you got for
A
us?
spoiler alert, I will not be skipping anymore.
Okay.
Oh.
So just putting that out
All
there.
right.
My bottom third was the Joe Schmo show.
What?
Yeah.
So when we originally watched it on the pod, I think I put it strongly in the middle. And then Harrison and I watched episode 2.
Oh my god.
And
I got an update. Top third.
did I really? Man,
really did.
I am demoting it. It doesn't continue strong. Like I think this is another one where like I like the premise and the idea so much. So what it is it's a reality show where like it's sort of a traditional reality show. They all live in a house together. They're competing in challenges. There's money to be won, but everyone's an actor except for one person, the Joe Schmo. And they like apparently the producers have set up all these like plots that are gonna happen, these like scenarios. And Rob has watched all of it, I believe.
All of it.
He owns the DVD,
Which is incredible to me.
I mean, to be fair, I own the DVD because I bought it so we could do it on the pod.
which is great.
but like I just want that to be so good because it's the reverse of The Mole, which I love so much. I love The Mole dearly. And
Same producers.
Same producers.
Even same music at times.
Same
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know they use the same like little theme song. I really want to like it, and I think there's so much potential. But then like it's pretty weird. Like people aren't good actors.
Did you
the
watch past the
plots-
second episode?
No, we watched the second episode, and I did not want to
I
go
think
on.
it kind of bounces back later
Really?
in the season. But
The plots just weren't that good. Like one of the
right,
plots
guys, all
was
right.
like, hey, let me
Okay.
finish my thought.
Yeah.
One of the plots was like this one girl is like really into Survivor and like strategy, and she gets eliminated, and she like delivers the whole speech that was like given in Survivor. Like it's just weird.
That was so good.
and it was like she's not a good actress, and like Joe is super onto it. It's just very strange.
So here's the thing. I don't know how to do this, but for everything you said, I have it in my top as my top 4. But mostly just because it's like I feel like it was just sort of like because it's kind of like this bad thing. I kind of found it fun.
Yeah.
Did you watch more than the first
No,
episode?
like I need to
Okay.
borrow the DVDs from Rob, so maybe I'll get them from him. But yeah, I don't know. There's like I don't disagree with anything you say really, but it's just sort of like looking at it. I kind of enjoy like it's like how like crazy bad some of it was, and like kind of made it into like a fun way for me. I don't know.
I think the first episode was really fun, and I obviously ranked it highly.
Yeah.
I think it just didn't
It fell
keep
down a
being
little.
fun.
That second episode must have been really bad.
I guess
All
we'll
right.
see when I
All
get to
right. So we got top third shows.
I still have a bottom
you
third.
still have a bottom third. Okay.
Yeah. This one is just here because it was insanely boring. Martha and Snoop's
Snoop's.
potluck dinner party.
Yeah. Something
What a
like that.
fucking name is that?
This is, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Snoop's New Strain.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, this show is. Turns out it's not really much of a reality show. It's more of a like daytime talk show. You know those talk shows where like you're like, hey, I brought on Al Roker and we're gonna cook together. Hi, Al. Hi, I'm Al Roker. You know, it's one of
Hi,
those
Al.
shows.
that was a great Al Roker impression.
What is this segment? This thing is off. Chris, this show is off the rails.
I'm trying to explain what Martha and Snoop's potluck dinner
Yeah.
party, so many syllables is.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's
Good
so,
explanation.
It's so fucking boring. It's so fucking
I
boring.
agree.
They,
Yeah.
they don't. They're scripted as fuck. Fuck, I hate this show.
That was not a very good show. Jamie Foxx was one of the guests. He was pretty good.
Jamie Foxx as a
Foxx,
guest
yeah.
said, "Oh, I always bring a person who like does balloons to a party." Does this ring a bell?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Now that you say it,
yeah. I had this as my bottom of the bottom or top of the bottom, like the fifth
number
worst show.
fifth, your fifth.
It
worst
was your
show.
Yeah.
least hated
Least
No,
hated
show.
Yeah.
Fifth worst is the best way to say it. There's no better way to say it.
Okay,
Come on, guys. Season 3. How have we not gotten this
let's
down?
keep it rolling.
All right, so let's go to top 3. I think I have this one right. Does not say skip on mine. But Forged in Fire is my top 3rd show.
+1.
I enjoy the show. I like seeing people work with. So the show is they bring in generally four people to make a knife of some sort, and they put it through some sort of tests, and then they'll pick 2 people and they'll make some sort of weapon from history, whatever, some nonsense to be on the History Channel. And then they go back and try to make this really complicated weapon in their home forges. They come back and they do this weird, do other tests with it. And then they declare a winner. And each week, new people. And what I really like about the show is just there's truly the winner is the best person that made that weapon. It's not and there's no subjectivity here. There's just you fail the test. Generally, you fail the test, you're out.
Yeah.
And if and usually the winner is the only one that did the best in all the challenges. It was just really interesting to see these people make knives. I don't know how to make a knife, and it's I've watched lots of this show now, so I definitely have a much better idea of how making a knife. But it was definitely really cool the first time I saw it. So that's why it gets in the top. Number 3.
I definitely thought about this as a potential one. It didn't quite make my top 5, but it was a pretty good show. And I definitely was home with my parents, and I was flipping channels, and I was oh, Forged in Fire, let's watch an episode of this. That was pretty good. And then when we were in India, we went to a palace, and there was a room where there was the weapons room, and I was I wish Chris was here. He'd be getting his Forged in Fire excitement on. So, but you didn't mention my favorite part of Forged in Fire, which is the crazy martial arts guy talking about how eat can kill.
I thought you were going to mention they got all the contestants in the one room looking at the judges as they judge the knives.
I mean, I like
was
that
good.
too. That's really great.
Yeah.
Anyone else got a number 3? Anyone?
I'll jump in on a number 3.
All right.
A controversial number 3.
Oh man,
Here we
The
go.
Masked Singer.
Yeah.
Not that controversial. I actually had that as my number 4.
I had that as my
Oh.
number 5.
oh,
It's controversial because half the room liked it and the other half the room is upset at us.
Okay, but the real question, so Rob, I know you watched the show,
Oh yeah.
but other people, did you actually watch it, or did you just go to YouTube and watch the reveals?
No, I went to Wikipedia every week to see.
Yeah, so you're DQ'd, so Noah's out. So Noah didn't watch it, so you have to be right? Chris, what's the ruling here? I need a
He
ruling.
didn't see that many shows. If he wants to put it in his top 5, he can put it in his top
This
5.
is bull.
Harrison, did you watch the?
I watched the last 3 or 4 episodes of it, which I think was kind of when the reveals started getting pretty good at the end,
Oh,
at the
yeah.
end there.
So to recap, this is a show where famous people, somewhat in air quotes, dress up in insane costumes and then sing. And it's kind of a singing competition, but you don't know who they are, and you only hear their real voice when they're singing, and you just try to guess who they are.
Rob, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is it a singing competition? What is the competition?
I mean, the competition is to be the best singer. That's how you win, because
Well, that's how
The-
it ended up being, but
I
that's
mean,
not what they ever really said.
they just said you just advance based on who you want to see continue. But clearly, there was a clear thing of the 5 best were way better than the first 7 that got kicked off. And the random athletes and actors who don't know how to sing were all the early ones who were gone. At the end, you had really good contestants and stuff.
Were they actually singing?
So the top 3 was Gladys Knight, who's a very famous singer, Donny Osmond, and the winner was T-Pain.
My boy.
Ooh.
so good.
Yes.
T-Pain was crushing it every week.
And non-auto tune.
No auto-tune.
Oh,
just-
T-Pain's amazing.
I just
T-Pain's
want
a
to
beautiful
call.
singer.
I think I called that right.
No, I said I heard it was T-Pain, and then you were like, oh, have you seen the thing on T-Pain?
That's right.
Tiny
And
Desk.
then you've multiple times said I called it was T-Pain after.
Yeah, I did call it. Think about that.
All right.
We'll think about it.
But season 2, they got to replace the panel. The panel's no good.
All right.
Yeah, get a panel that doesn't fucking anti-vax. Fuck those guys. Negative.
Max
bottom
can never
third.
miss an opportunity to just start ripping into that.
I
All
mean,
right.
Not
All right,
a fan
guys.
of
All right,
Jenny
guys. If
McCarthy.
you
He's
want to
not
hear
wrong.
our talk about the Messenger, you can go listen to our pod on the Messenger. ABC, what is your number 3?
Oh man. Oh, my number 3 top was perhaps controversial. Double Shot at Love.
Oh.
I liked it.
I mean, of the shows I watched on the pod, like this was very entertaining. This is Polly and Vinny from the Jersey Shore are on a dating show, and they're both dating the same pool of women. It's very strange. It's in a beautiful MTV house. They have some weird like challenges for the women, but it was pretty entertaining. And like I really like Polly and Vinny, and I went into this not expecting to like the show at all because it seemed really cheesy, but I liked it.
It's definitely new on my honorable mentions, not in the top 5.
Yeah, gonna give a honorable mention. I don't have the official ranking.
Yeah, so this one actually snuck in at my number 5 slot, which I was a little bit surprised about because I've never really been like a big Jersey Shore person, but I thought that both Vinny and Polly were like pretty good characters on there. I think that Polly especially seemed like pretty compelling, pretty genuine on the show, so that seemed cool. And yeah, I just thought that like format was interesting, and yeah, good show.
Yeah, I will say of the like Jersey universe, I liked Polly the best in this show, of like compared to other things I've seen.
I think it's the Jerseyverse.
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 It's just Jersverse.
Jerseyverse.
Jerseyverse.
I do got to say, this is the only show where we've been able to converse with the contestant on the show. Are James, are you so confused? Yeah, Holly from the show, me and her had a little Twitter conversation going on her scaredness or phobia of fruit.
Noah, did you
Did we
slide
ever
into
get
the
a
DMs?
confirm or like what happened? What was the outcome of this chit chat?
Yeah, she just really doesn't like a lot of fruit. Just kind of weird.
I also
We're scared of
learned
it, yeah.
Noah doesn't like tuna.
No, I like tuna sushi, not tuna fish in a can. It grosses me out.
Wasn't
I mean,
it something
I
like she-
agree.
like bananas really freak her out or something, if I remember right?
I'll have to go into
Yeah.
the internet corner
Okay.
to confirm. So why don't we move on?
All right. So, Harrison, you have a number 3?
I do have a number 3.
What is your number 3?
My number 3 is Tidying Up with Marie Kondo.
Oh yeah, that got into my top 5 as well,
Boo.
and number 4.
Oh yeah.
Boo.
So basically, is that a boo?
Yeah, I'm booing that.
Oh,
show
you don't
for
like that
sure.
show?
Absolutely
Oh, man.
not.
Wow. Okay.
I think Chris is
so
the first person I've ever heard with this reaction.
I think so too.
I agree.
I can't believe that.
All right.
I can't even remember what you rated at the time. I don't remember you being that negative on
Well,
when we saw
we got
it.
the
Here's the
stats.
thing about Harrison not remembering what we rated. Harrison was not on that podcast.
I wasn't on that podcast.
Nope.
You watched all
No,
of it.
I guess I've seen
cheating.
it though.
You're cheating.
Oh, I didn't realize I wasn't on that one. Well,
That's
I've
why you don't
seen it.
remember Chris's rating.
I guess maybe I would have remembered him hating on it so much. All right. Well, I definitely.
but Harrison, you can still
I
give us
definitely
the
did not
the
look at the
show.
table of ratings as I was doing this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to bias my decision.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What's the show? Quick.
Basically, this woman Marie Kondo, who's like this kind of personal organizer person, comes into someone's house, which is like messy, but like realistically messy. It's not like some insane like hoarder house, but it's like realistically messy. And she basically just kind of shows them how to like organize their home and like kind of, you know, and by extension, kind of get their life back on the right track. And it's cool. I think it's a really pleasing show to watch. I feel like the stories are good. There's some good practical advice for organizing your own life. Like I know when the show came out on Netflix, I was reading that like Goodwills across the country had this huge uptick in like donations to Goodwill because everyone's just Marie Kondoing their house.
This
yeah,
is
I
a
thought it was a
legit
good show.
thing. Like people, like everywhere I go, like I've had conversations. People are like, oh, Maria, like this context has come up in so many different things and situations, and like people are just like, you know, does it bring you joy? Like that question is getting asked all around now and stuff. I don't know. I think it's like really powerful.
So is this on your top too?
No, I still haven't seen it.
Okay.
Quick show of hands of the 7 people on this pod, who condos their shirts? Okay, 3 of us. Marie Kondo has changed 3 of our lives.
It changed my life.
Oh, if I had a drawer, maybe I would.
A draw?
That's the best.
Thanks,
A
Noah.
draw?
So Harrison, I got a question for you. So you watched all the episodes. Do you remember the episode where she goes to a couple where the guy's a musician and they're living in like an apartment
Yeah.
and they got 2 kids in the same house,
Yeah.
in the same room? How does that one compare to other episodes of the show? Do you have a sense of that?
Oh man, I don't know. I watched this so long ago. I don't know if
Okay.
I have a good feel on that particularly.
That one
No
was a
one gave
bad
it a top
episode.
third, but we all had a sense of we maybe watched the wrong episode. So
Okay.
I mean, so we need to move on, but I'm going to explain my boo here for a second.
please do.
Like, you can listen to the pod to get more nuanced opinion, but like the show, like the idea of like Connery and Connerying up your apartment is great. But the show itself was just like Connery would show up and then you watch people clean their apartment. It was just like weird. And like at the end, you just didn't really get to see the cleaning. Like it just like the whole idea is great, but the feng shui of the show just like was bad. Like at least the episode we watched, again, I'm not watching anymore because of how bad I think that episode was. And like the kind of premise of the show is just kind of broken. It's like, I don't want to watch people clean.
Huh? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you just kind of caught a bad episode, but yeah, I don't know. I like it.
I watched 3 episodes. That one was the worst one I watched.
Does anyone else have a number 3?
I do have a number
What do
3.
you got for us, Noah?
You will not be surprised it's in my top 5. You might be surprised it's number 3. Selling Sunset.
Oh, impossible.
This is the only show this pod has ever done that I've actually finished the season or potentially even watched another episode of the show.
Unbelievable.
It really is.
Explain the show for us now.
I'll explain the show. So for those watching at home, it's a Netflix show, so you can get it. It is about a real estate agency based in Hollywood that, well, they sell houses. What is unique about the agency, the Oppenheim Group, it's founded by 2 twin bald brothers. And they just hire overly attractive real estate agents to sell their houses. And it's about the hustle of selling houses in Hollywood and the drama that happens at the agency. Why I find this appealing, I wish I could tell you.
I think you answered your own question there.
Yeah, potentially. I think the one thing I liked learning was a little bit more about LA and just like the real estate market there, even though there's definitely more efficient ways to do that than watching the show. But it drew me in and I finished the season, and the season was not satisfying, but I watched it anyway.
Rob, I need
Not satisfying. Third best show.
I mean,
Best show we've ever seen. Not satisfying.
It's the only one I kept watching. Like, there's got to be something to that.
Noah is in the same position as Annabeth, where they don't have that much to work with here.
I
Rob,
guess.
can you tell us the ratings for Selling Sunset?
Well, let me first tell you this. That was my 5th worst.
Oh,
And to be fair, like I said, I didn't give it a lot of bottom thirds. Actually, like it's not bad. I feel bad it's my 5th worst. I feel like it's not quite that bad, but like it wasn't good.
To add on, I am in James' camp where I really dislike a lot of the love shows. So there is a third of shows I don't attend, then a third of shows I do attend that are love. So unless really the 1/3 of shows to pick from.
I mean, it's fine.
So-
It's definitely like a slice of life kind of show, but it just wasn't very good.
So Selling Sunset got a middle third from Noah, as well as a middle third from Max and Chris, and a bottom third from me and Brian. And Brian proclaimed it the worst show he's ever seen.
so bottom of the bottom.
Bottom of the bottom.
All right. Does anyone else have a number 3? I think that was it. So we're gonna go with your second worst show is the right way to explain this. I have a second worst show here. It is a little show called Strip Search.
Oh man, I forgot about Strip Search.
So this show is a standard competition reality show where they had like 10 people join a house and they're trying to find the next top web comic artist. And it was just very low, poorly produced. It was on it was for YouTube, like for what was the
Penny Arcade.
Penny Arcade. It was just old. I don't really. It's just so bad that everything about it was just done so poorly that that's how it ended up in this list. And I'm sorry, Eric, but this is where it goes.
Recommendation from Eric, friend of the show.
Ooh, Rob, I want to ask now in case it takes a second to look, but do you have a list of the Eric recommendations?
I mean,
I do
comboed
not-
with the.
I do not have that list.
Oh, okay. Well,
I can tell you this is not the only Eric recommendation that's going to come up tonight.
Oh, okay.
In fact, we already had one, which was Opposite Worlds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's right.
It's true.
I really want to know if Eric is recommending shows that are trash, like intentionally,
He's
if it's.
he's
There-
recommended some real trash shows, but he's recommended a couple gems.
There is
Yeah.
one that I liked that somebody liked more than me.
Oh wow.
So anyone else got their second worst show?
I wanted one last thing on Strip Search. That I was also in competition with Selling Sunset for my fifth worst, but I decided I liked Strip Search a little bit more. I'll go with a second. I really debated between my top two, which one was one, which one was two, but I went with our friend Jesse Palmer, host of The Proposal.
Oh, that's my number 2 also.
That was my number 5.
Oh wait, is this two worst? Right.
Second worst.
Okay.
This is my 5th worst.
Judging by the reactions, people were very excited about it. So I got.
People are excited when other people hate the same shows
Yeah.
as them. Is the thing. So The Proposal was some kind of dating show, kind of, sort of, weirdly, and hosted by Jesse Palmer, who's not a good host and who somehow is hosting multiple reality shows now.
I'm not really sure if I call it a dating show. It's more of like this kind of matchmaking show. I don't know. It's
I
weird.
don't know
Yeah.
what to call it. It had some elements of a show that's not really a dating show called Naked Attraction. The people were wearing clothes, but had the same kind of weird,
But
creepy.
It was all in one. It was all in a studio. So it was like
Yeah.
10 people. You ask them questions or whatever, and they eliminate it down to one, and then they propose.
And there's a mystery like Bachelor or Bachelorette. The episode we saw was a mystery Bachelor.
Right, that's like the key thing.
who's just like
Yeah.
there's basically like a fashion show pageant going on, and they'll ask random questions, and then he just kicks people off, and like within an hour he's picked the person he's going to propose to. And the best part of / worst part was they had a video of the person in their home life,
yeah.
but then when they do show their face, they have an insane CGI blob over it. It's just like, why would you do that?
That was the best part of the show.
That was great with him weightlifting.
Yeah.
That was
I
great.
totally forgot about that.
I
How
can't.
can you? It's burned into my brain. Harrison, what else you want to say about The Proposal?
Honestly, like I can't believe we have 2 Jesse Palmer joints that we're talking about tonight.
I mean, I can believe they're both in our bottom 5s, but why is, like, as I said on the Holiday Baking Temperature Pod, why is he getting more hosting gigs?
No idea. Also, I think that last season I must have had Bachelor in Paradise in my bottom 5, but that's just another bottom 5 for Bachelorverse shows. Yeah, it's terrible.
Did this get a second season, or is there going to be another summer Bachelor show?
Oh, I don't know. Let me
Did this make it-
head to the internet corner real quick.
Did this make it through its
Yes,
first
it
season?
did.
It did.
And it had actually decent ratings, which was Rob and I were talking about it because like in the pod, if you listen to it, I was trying to make a bet that this thing won't last another like 2 episodes.
I thought it was definitely going to be a you at the jury situation.
Yeah, but this is ABC and The Bachelor, and it actually had like decent ratings. It had like a 2 like run in, and they like kept like 1, so like that was pretty good for like a show.
Oh my
I'm
god!
getting into ratings minutia right now.
I'm gonna throw in one of my bottom 2, which is I'm gonna get it taken care of nice and short because very few people were here to watch it. It was Country Music Television's Redneck Islands.
Ooh, I had that in the bottom as well.
Yeah, this is my second least favorite show of the season. It is Survivor, except the host is Stone Cold Steve Austin, and all the contestants are supposedly rednecks.
And they're on an island.
I mean, it's more of a coast of Hawaii, not an
Yeah.
island.
Yeah.
I mean,
What? Hawaii? Oh my god, that seems super underwhelming.
Fire
Host.
Festival.
And
Yeah.
okay, so 2 things. Somebody described it on the podcast as somebody taking the worst of Survivor and the least interesting of Rednecks and just mashing it together. the first person to leave the show, like there was supposed to be somebody who leaves because of a challenge. He leaves because he has type 2 diabetes.
It was
I'm
a really,
confused.
it was quite bad.
They developed the diabetes, or
No.
like he couldn't get insulin, or like I'm confused. What happened?
Or wait, no, sorry. The reason he left the show, okay, they did a challenge and they were coming back from the challenge in a boat.
Okay.
And the boat is on real choppy water. And you see the camera just sort of collapse. It turns out they hit a real bad wave and this dude like fucked up his back.
Oh yeah, that was insane. I remember
this
that.
now. Yeah. That was okay. You really threw me with the
So-
diabetes.
sorry,
I didn't need
I
to-
remember this was brought up on the pod.
Got it.
That he has type 2 diabetes and he's very adamant about it.
Yeah.
The best part of that show was the challenge winners won a honey bucket.
Oh yeah,
Or-
they gained access to a toilet.
and the other team never gets access to a toilet the rest of the show.
Yep.
Do you just like throw your shit at the other team? Like
I
I'm-
don't
Nobody
know.
knows.
No one watched more than one episode. I promise you.
definitely not.
This show was bad. Don't watch it.
Anyone else got a number 2 they need to talk about? Annabeth, you
You
come
know.
in here with your number 2 here.
Roll it in. I picked Love School.
Oh, that was my number 2 as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Love School was a show we watched from India, and the premise is a famous couple. We did not know them, but they are famous in India. They help other couples repair their relationships, and it seems like it's going to be some kind of situation where they live with some singles, but we didn't really get to that part on episode 1, which lasted 1,000 years and was just really like not a lot of good advice, like sort of like it was like backhanded advice just to sort of cause drama, and they sort of like they played some weird games, and the people on it were like a lot of influencers. It was just not a compelling show. It was like all of the MTV kind of traps like rolled in. Not good.
Yeah, I could see that. It was definitely not good.
Yeah.
Noah, what else do you have to say about it, Noah?
Well, it's so they bring all these couples in, and then they bring like the bait to try to distract the couples, and just way too quickly, people are just like, all right, yeah, bye. It's just like it just
They
they're
just took the bait like immediately.
They took the bait immediately. And so I think it builds on Annabeth's point where there's too many influencers and not enough of reality for me to buy into it. And it just took way too long.
It did introduce us to the concept of the Graham generation, though, which I will
That's
always be
true.
grateful for.
We should be grateful for that.
I don't know.
All right.
I have another number 2 worst. If
All
we're
right,
still
what do you
there.
got for us?
We can do it quickly because we just recently did it, but they took all of the fun out of food. This is Netflix's series called Street Food. I can't believe they ruined food and most of Asia travel for me.
What is the show, James? For the
Yeah,
listeners?
the show. So they have a series on Netflix. I believe the first series or season is themed for Asia. And so I think the idea is there's 1 or 2 people or something that go around and will explore the street food of a given city. We started Delhi. I think we watched
We
Delhi for the
watched
pod.
Delhi.
Yeah, New Delhi. I think some of us may have seen another 1 or 2. The spoilers there is it doesn't get any better. And so, yeah, like on the idea, it's like I personally love to go to foreign countries and explore much of the culture and history through the food. And like just seeing and kind of doing that. But this show just captures none of that. Like I felt like I've been to India and Delhi specifically. I've been to some of the places that they even went to. And this show is just, it's no fun. The food doesn't come across any more interesting or appetizing. I don't feel like I've really learned anything. And they sort of mix in this sad story, it seems like, throughout for some reason.
Yeah, not only
that
is the
they
show
don't tee
not
up.
fun,
Yeah.
it's depressing.
Yeah, it leaves
I just
you in
want
like
to see some food.
Yeah, like usually when I'm watching a food show, I don't want to just feel kind of depressed or sad and terrible. And the show kind of does that. So there you have it.
Yeah, definitely worth the number 2 there, James. Anyone else have their second worst?
Quick update on the proposal. Season 2 has not been confirmed, but it has not been confirmed as canceled. The ABC upfront presentation is on Tuesday.
Oh. All right, so are we moving on to our second best show? Annabeth, since I know you have a second best show.
I do.
What is it?
So my second best show is a little thing called Tila Tequila.
Oh,
Shot at love. So like I think I'm often pretty charmed by these sort of old reality shows before it was really cleaned up and polished and people knew how to act, and that like influencers aren't really on the table, and Tequila has a lot of that for me. Very good. The premise is that this lady is bisexual. She's going to date a bunch of men and a bunch of women, and she's going to pick her match at the end. Weird eliminations. I feel like it's a classic reality show. So it's number 2.
All right. There it is. Number 2. I have nothing to say about it.
Good choice.
Anyone else got a number 2? Mine is a skip.
Mine was Churchill Secret Agents. Right.
yeah, and mine was
We're
number
sorry
2.
about that, guys. Anyone else got a number 2?
Do it is Below Deck, I believe, the Mediterranean.
Wow,
Ooh,
number 2.
Number
Good
2.
Good choice.
This show, like for me, it's fun. So the quick blurb on it, it's fuck, I forget where it is. It's in the Mediterranean. somewhere.
Yes, the Mediterranean.
And it's about these yachties. It's about yacht life and a bunch of like youngsters going to work on these yachts and taking out like super rich people to go spend a shitload of money on a good time on a yacht. And I don't know, you kind of like, as you get into it, you start to learn more about these people, and their stories are kind of intriguing and interesting, I thought. There's love interest and other things, and I don't know, I feel like it's just kind of catching. It's low stress, sort of just a easy watch, kind of chill ride.
It is-
Noah's cringing.
Yeah, I'm cringing.
I can't believe you put Selling Sunset.
No, you
on
have to
your-
wait till my comment. And this
Okay.
is gonna balance that out. So
It's a podcast, not a TV show we're doing.
I put this in the same category as Selling Sunset, where I see these shows very interchangeable.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the word. I forgot how you categorize it.
It's a
Chris?
slice of life show.
Slice of life. Yeah. I feel like it fits in the same category.
I don't. What?
So
I don't
let me
follow
ex-
that at
So
all.
slice of life, as in you get a slice of these people's like lives, and you get to like obviously get more than just a slice, but like it is a slice of just like these 10 people's lives
Okay.
as they do their job.
Yeah.
Like Selling Sunset, Vanderpump Rules, Below Deck Mediterranean, like all of those are just kind of like slice of life in a position, in a job, and like Mykonos, all those kind of things are like there's a formula now.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's kind.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The reason I was cringing a bit is people are like, oh, I can see though that was your number 2, but people can knock it over that Selling Sunset is number 3.
I could
When-
see how this is your number 2.
I enjoyed it. I just found
Below
it fun.
Deck Mediterranean was just a better show. I don't know what to tell you, Noah. It just was.
No.
Great justification.
No, I can see Sunset as a top 5.
All right, we can move on.
And I brought the carpet for you, Max.
One last thing on this is such a like similar show theoretically to Lohan Beach Club, but this is so much better.
That's fair.
That's a
like
good
I
point.
think that I was thinking like the Beach Club would be more interesting because it
Yeah.
would be like it would have that same base formula of like, okay, it's like this kind of luxury-ish like brand level, like spending money, but now instead of just having like somebody you never heard of run the ship, it's Lindsay Lohan running this club. But it obviously didn't pan out that way.
Yeah.
You got that crazy Lohan though.
Yeah.
Anyone else got a number 2 they need to talk about? Are we moving on to
Oh.
bottom?
Yeah, I do.
Like looking at Max specifically.
Yeah, sorry.
and I have
Hey.
number 2.
I'm just gonna roll through it real quick. It is An Idiot Abroad. I had never seen the show. I heard a lot about it. The name is very apt. It is a British comic / complete idiot. He's not hamming it up like a good 80% of the time. Goes somewhere abroad and sort of lives life out there. And in the episode we watched, he goes to South Africa and he hangs out in a house with a pet hippo. And
Ooh, Pet Hippo.
yeah, and it's just a delight to watch. It's 45 minutes of delight, and it feels real.
No Ricky Gervais shout out.
He's bad.
He is bad.
He's a bad person.
I just remember monkeys in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's some
he
sort
meets
of-
a gorilla.
Okay. Yeah. Not very memorable. Okay, so number 1, your worst
Worst
show.
show.
Annabeth, we talked about your worst show.
We know
already.
mine. Opposite worlds.
We talked about
Womp
that.
womp.
And that was Harrison's worst show too, right?
That was also my worst show.
Ooh, so a doubler.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rob,
Wow.
what is your worst show?
It's my worst show. I almost didn't put it because I felt like I got to grade it on a curve. I'm like, why am I grading this on a curve? It just is terrible. Was feed famous.
Yeah. Sorry, it is. I yelled it before he said the word. It is feed famous.
It is my
Feed.
number 3 as well.
Famous.
So what was Feed Famous? I missed this
So
one.
Feed Famous is a BuzzFeed show where they took six social media influencers with Instagram accounts and challenged them to sort of photo contests. They've got to put a photo on their feed to match their competition. Then they judge them and kick someone off. And it is just all kinds of terrible. Like, A, it's super cheap. B, their judging criteria makes no sense. And we found out the guy who won should have been kicked off the first episode because he didn't follow the rules and they didn't kick him off. And it's just not interesting at all. And I was like, it's just like a stupid BuzzFeed show. Does it really deserve to be my worst show? I was like, yes, it does. It is just terrible. So that is my worst show of season 3.
Not
What do you got to add, Max?
I just want to throw out that you talked about how the judging makes no sense. I want to dive into that. In episode 1, the judging is you take a picture and you judge it on its composition, very reasonable. Tappability, which is how many times you would tap that photo on Instagram. And
I like that you call it tap that photo.
no, tappability.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
But I just like
No,
how many times would you tap it?
I'll come back to
that's
this.
what they talked about on
and
the show.
and the third one is bring it factor. What does that mean? Nobody knows. Anyway, so like at one point they say like, oh, that's a really good photo. I'm going to give that 4 taps. Fun fact, in Instagram, if you tap something 4 times, you like it and then immediately unlike it.
Yeah.
Was this your worst show as well, Max?
It was my worst show. I fucking hated this show. We
Okay, I just want to clarify for
the only
audience.
good news about the show is each episode is like 16 minutes or less. We watched one episode and we hated it so much we convinced Chris to watch another just so we could like really sink in how much we hated this thing.
It was bad.
We didn't realize until after we were watching it that it was a BuzzFeed show on Hulu for some fucking reason. Fuck.
I think we might have. I don't remember.
It was my number 3rd worst show, and I agree. It's just bad. I don't really have a lot to talk about it after what you've just said. So, James,
Well, for someone who's never seen this show, the premise sounds kind of interesting.
the thing is like it was like
Okay,
we got to get out of the internet corner
Noah,
trap here.
promise us you will watch one episode.
I will do it.
Okay.
all right. Noah, what is your worst show?
Chrisley knows best.
That is also my worst show.
Oh, that was in my
Yeah,
list
buddy.
too.
Oh man, this show is so bad.
What was it? I missed it.
So this is
I missed it too.
So this show was recommended to me by a coworker. It airs before Raw, I believe. And he's like, he can't watch
Like
he
the
misses-
wrestling Raw.
Yeah, he misses the beginning of Raw because he can't watch the show because it's that bad. You can't watch the end of the show. It's like just this guy and like his like daughters and like his like life. It's a slice of life. This guy, and it's just like. He's acting and everything is set up and it's just awful. It really is so bad. It is by far the worst. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's terrible. This Chrisley character just seemed to be like Tennessee wealthy. I forgot exactly where they were, but he might have made like $1 million or something. Something not like outrageous wealth, but like enough where in this like community he's living large, and for some reason, this network decided to greenlight his reality show, and he's trying so hard to do social media ham up as much as possible, and just fails at every turn.
I have bad news. The show has spin-offs now.
Yeah.
No.
The thing is the show
yeah.
is like numerous seasons. It's not like this is the first season of this show. It's like season like I don't know what season it was, but it's like at least like 8. This is terrible.
Oh
Bad.
God.
Like I can't imagine that anyone watches it. In fact, that it still is airing.
I want to meet people who love this show.
Audience, let us know. Send us a taped thing in our who put this on at gmail.com about what you love about this show.
I will
It's
buy you a
really-
beer, a coffee, a meal. Let's talk.
A car.
I think that's all the worst, right?
One to go,
James, you?
which I I'm kind of glad we're doing this live because I think it's gonna be a little controversial because I think several of you would actually put this in your top.
Oh no.
And I know it's not gonna be a friend of Max here, but Documental we got to talk about.
Oh man, this is
I
This
did
is-
not like this show one bit.
okay. This is my number 5 show
All like on the tops.
on my top.
Yeah,
This is
like
my
I knew
top
this would be
5
a
this is my top
divisive
5
one.
show.
It was also my number 5 top, but Max, where's this? On
It
your
was even deeper into my top.
list? Where?
I want to say 3. Let me check it out.
Tell me what
It was
this
your
show
third
is.
We
top,
would've-
it
we
should have
would've
come up by
discussed it.
now. Unless it's your
no,
top of the
it-
top.
it's a skip, so somebody else may have taken
Yeah.
it from
Oh,
me.
it's a skip. We're
Yeah.
waiting
Yeah.
for James to
We're
reveal.
waiting for James to reveal.
Oh, I
Reveal.
see.
I didn't realize if he was skipping for it to be somebody's number
Got it,
one.
got it.
But
I
anyways,
thought it was Max. I thought I knew it was Max's number 1. I was like, man, Max put Documental number 1. That's impressive.
yeah, and so for those that may not have seen the show, I probably can't give the best description because again, I didn't really like it. But I chopped this up to subtitled show with a bunch of comedians locked in a room doing the stupidest slapstick, dumb things for a gimmick to basically try to force somebody else to laugh. And that's how you get eliminated, I believe, more or less. Like, if you make the other person laugh, they're out. Last one standing wins the competition. So, like, I get it. I don't like it. I don't like this kind of humor. It was just silly, dumb, and like not in a fun silly to me. Like it was just aggravating to watch, and I did not like it. And so it's just
It's not for
not the
everyone.
worst.
I get
it's
it.
really not for me.
It is absolutely not for everyone. Do you think this format could translate to the U.S. perhaps with a different, type of,
I just don't like, regardless of the language. So that's very minor for this. Like,
but also
it was
if
really
the humor were different?
Maybe if the humor, like, I don't know, like. There's just so much of this where it's just like, dudes dicking around, like putting a rubber band over his face or something, or a bag, and like it's just like all just the stupidest shit. And like for me, I'm just so aggravated watching it constantly. I'm just like, why? Like, no.
As
Yeah.
we sit here and laugh about just thought about somebody
Yeah.
putting a rubber band over their head.
Chris, can you do that
Chris
right now?
were laughing our ass off a second ago.
'Cause I had a really interesting experience with Documental where, like, halfway through that show, I was like, this show is just the weirdest, terrible show. And then the show ended, and it was like the next time on, and I was like, it's over already? What? I don't get more? What? And the other thing with the show is it's only 4 episodes of the season. So I actually watched the whole season.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't take it too much time. It's just like, they're literally in the room for 6 hours. And then, so
then
like
it's
there's
done.
3 episodes where they're actually in the room and it's done. And then you just move on. And that was pretty good. But like, I was surprised. I was going through it. I was like, I think this is like my 5th best show. It's
Yeah.
like, it really got to me. But I can't quite explain why, because like a lot of what James says, I agree with. Like, it's so stupid.
So for me, it was my number 5, top 5. I've been meaning to rewatch. Like, I haven't finished season 1, and I've just been like in the back of my mind every time somebody mentions it. Like, oh yeah, I need to finish that show because I really love this premise of just being in this room and forcing other people to laugh. And then one episode we watched, like people like try to get other people to laugh, but then they laughed and then they kicked themselves out, which was just so good. And like, I do have some English, like Impractical Jokers, which we did last season, does a couple segments where they do this bit, but it's only like 5 minutes. It's not like 6 hours.
Yeah. I
So,
could-
so like,
and
and also
okay
there's
with
money
Impract-
on the line.
Yeah.
but there's money on the line documental.
Yeah.
There's no money on the line. The other one.
The money on the line documental is really irrelevant.
No,
like,
yeah.
Even like it's the same thing like Money in the Challenge or any of these where it's just like money for the grand prize at the end is
Oh.
like it's irrelevant to me. So
Sure.
like it's just it's like okay, whatever.
Sure. No, but in this one, they put in money to get on the show.
Oh,
They put
okay.
in $10,000 a person.
Interesting. So it's kind of like these guys are playing like comedy poker.
Yeah,
essentially.
it's fucking wild.
The first episode, we didn't watch the first episode because it made sense to skip it if we're just going to watch one. But I went back and watched the first one. And it's kind of funny because some people are like, they are rich. Some people are like, yeah, I went to the bank and tried to get a loan to explain like why I need this money. And then one guy's like, I asked my wife for this money. And she's like, why do you need all this money? And he's like, don't worry about it.
I'm going to play comedy poker. I don't know. I
see-
mean, I could see like and again like I think the show like sums up like I think it's a hit or miss show, but like if it works for you, then like Go for it. You'll know very quickly if this is your show or not.
Yeah, you got to start with episode 2.
Yep.
Unless you're really going to commit to watching episode 2 through episode 1.
You got to commit to episode 2. So if you start with episode 1, you got to commit to at least watch all of episode 2, or just start with episode 2 and go back to episode 1.
We're going to move on, but
Move on.
season 2 is now on Amazon. So if you're itching for some more documental, you can watch season 2.
All right.
That's our last worst show, right? So we're on to our best show.
Bum, ba-da-bum.
Annabeth, what do you got for us on your favorite show here?
I'm just ready for you to boo.
Okay.
It's obviously Temptation Island.
Ooh, yes.
Yes.
I mean, I was a little morally conflicted about it because I think, as we talked about on the pod, like, it's a weird show. The premise is we get all these couples, four couples go to an island, male female couples. They split up the men and the women. They put them in different houses. They put a lot of sexy singles in the houses. They go on dates. They try to test their relationship. You get like little video clips of your partner and what they're up to. And at the end of the season, you decide whether or not you're going to stay together. And it was unlike any other show I've ever seen. I was like really like it feels real enough. Like, it feels like these are real relationships. Feels like there's a lot on the line. These people have been dating a long time. I'm not sure why they decide to do this, but it is riveting to see what happens. And it's like, I was just very compelled by it. Like, I really wanted to know. And now that it's over, I don't know if I'll watch another season because I'm not sure. Now that I know kind of what happens, like, I'm not sure if it's going to be super different to watch again. But it was just a really wild season of reality TV.
None of us expected it to go as far as it did.
So
why
who
would
has
you-
this
wait.
as number 1? Is it just so Harrison does?
Oh yeah, this is definitely my number one.
Wow.
This is my number 3.
Like I just can't
Whoa.
remember a reality show that's made this kind of an impact on me like in a long time. It's just like I you know, especially after that thing was over, I was definitely thinking about it for a little while, and I think I was similarly conflicted about putting it at number 1. Like, I think that it's potentially ethically questionable. I think that they're you know,
morally corrupt, perhaps.
Maybe.
yeah, I think that there's
Questionably.
you know, questionable. I think that Mark L. Wahlberg is the literal
Satan.
devil. And yeah, it's an insane show. Like, I can't believe that they made it. I can't believe that it's as good as it is and the production quality is as high. And I can't believe the people that they found to put on this show.
Do you
That
think,
is
like,
the most
If there's
shocking.
another season, though, do you think, like, is it possible there's going to be another season? Because, like, now people know what it is.
There-
Like,
there
why
are-
would you agree to go on
So,
it now?
there were already like 3 or 4 seasons of it, like in the early 2000s, I
Yeah.
think, and then they just rebooted it this year. So I think it did pretty well. Like, I'm sure it's gonna get renewed.
There is a casting call out for season 2.
Oh man.
We talked about ABC. Did you fill out for that casting call yet?
Oh.
Let me prep my video.
Would you
It's just-
go back and watch the early 2000 version of the show?
I am curious about young Mark L. Wahlberg to kind of see how that is, but
You got to watch him Supermarket Sweep for that.
oh yeah, that's real young Mark L. Wahlberg. Yeah, I would go back and watch an early season. I haven't, but hell of a show.
Yeah, I think early season sounds like really right up my alley because I loved this show. It was fabulous, and I love early reality TV. So
It
Yeah.
felt early.
I'll let you know.
It felt like something straight out of 2003.
Yeah, it's really strange. The production is really different than the MTV shows, and I think that was pretty compelling.
All right, Noah. What do you got for your number 1 show here? Let's see if we're on the same page again.
We might be. Deadliest Catch. It was new to me. I know it's been on TV for a while. I've never seen it. I see why it's on TV for a while. I'm not going to explain it. People know what the show is. It's just so well done. Slice of life extreme. Building on that category. Not much more to say. People add on.
So this is also coming in at my top show.
Oh.
I had already previously seen several episodes. I think this was one of my recommendations. I think it's wildly popular, really successful show. As a quick update to it, I was having some trouble sleeping last night, but I stumbled upon on Discovery Channel The Deadliest Catch Legends So they have a Legends spinoff where they go into some of the backstories of some of these captains that have been around for like a really long time. The one episode that we watched for the show was starring Jake Anderson, the captain. I think we called him Tweak or something like that because he was really hopped up on coffee.
Yeah.
And so they did like a whole hour-long special just into his like origin story. And so like I found out like learning just a whole bunch about him was really good. Recommend it. But like he had this whole relationship with Sig and how he got there and like how he worked his way up from basically like being down out, like homeless and like the streets and like having a drug problem to like ultimately in the end running the ship and being the captain of the saga. But yeah, so yeah, on top of that, it's just another spinoff of the show. But it's, I don't know, it's just done really well. A slice of life, I guess, as it fits the category, as I've learned tonight. And yeah, I don't know. It just, I feel like it's really like relatable, even though I can't relate at all to it.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing that job, but somehow you feel like you could relate to these people.
The one thing I would say that I think would also tip me over was the Seattle connection. That these boats dock in Ballard. We can go see, I mean, theoretically see some of them. So I find that kind of cool.
All right, Max, what do you got for your number one?
Chris, have you already revealed yours?
I have not.
I'm going to say you, me, and Rob are all in the same boat here.
Close.
Might be. What is it?
I really, really enjoyed Jersey Shore Family Vacation.
You're close. That was my number 2.
Okay.
That is my number one.
Yeah.
I'm the resident MTV hater. But I put MTV show as my top show. I had to do it.
This
Oh,
show,
can't believe it.
this show was absolutely remarkable to me. Basically, my only real reality show experience before being on this podcast was first 2 or 3 seasons of Jersey Shore. It was a bunch of big, dumb idiots doing dumb shit, and it was really fun to watch. And watching these people sort of 10 years later, like, they were very relatable. They're like, I'm too old for this shit. Let's do it. It was fun. I love that show.
It really speaks to that show that you had previous experience with it and we're coming back to it. I'd never seen any Jersey Shore. And I watched it. And I'm like, this show is freaking amazing. I cannot believe how good this show is. I was ready to hate on this show. And it's like, it's too good. I couldn't do it.
They're just like really great personalities all throughout. I mean, some people are fucking terrible, but there's some real heart to this show.
Yeah, the like family connection on the show is like really makes it, and I think that like just like personalities and just the vibe that you get from them, and just the relatableness of like, oh, you're getting old, and this shit, like, why am I doing this shit anymore? Is like, and then also seeing them like just get really wasted is also just kind of fun and dealing with the repercussions of that.
It's a mix of why am I doing this, but then the commitment to do it anyway. That's really the.
Just a reminder, we're all drinking 8% Natty Daddies.
He said it's relatable, Noah. He said it's relatable.
Too old for this.
All right, so I guess we'll go over the last number one show, which is my number one, which would be Survivor.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Chris is
Another-
hopping this one up all
Another
season
Chris
long.
curveball.
You know, I'm the only one. I'll be standing on my ledge here. I think Survivor, one of the first, if not, you want how you want to say it, the first reality show I've been watching. Watched the first season. Now I watched the last full one that aired, and it was really entertaining. Like, it was just really fun to watch. It is one of probably the only shows I think we've ever really done where I'm like watching the whole thing and I'm excited when a new episode comes out. It's just kind of entertaining to see these people on an island get like weaker and weaker and like fight morally and like questionably to be like the number one or the last person not voted off. There's a lot of dynamics going on there. I didn't really see why people get obsessed with it. Like, I'm not obviously not at that level, but like for me, this is the number one show this season. So if you want more Noah's opinion,
Classic show.
classic. It's very classic.
Great show.
So
yeah,
we-
so this is actually my number 2 as well. I mean, like, I feel like, I was definitely a big Survivor fan back in the day, and kind of had fallen off it for a while, but yeah, watching on the pod, it sort of rekindled my interest a little bit. So been like watching the current season, and it's really, really good, and I just think it's one of the most well-constructed reality shows, and it's good competition reality show. I love that subgenre. So yeah.
Is
Survivor's
it
great.
one of the longest running like reality shows?
Yeah.
It's got to be,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it's what, 18
It's
seasons?
that or
18
Real
years?
World.
It's like
34.
34.
34.
Yeah, Amazing Race is up there too. Yeah.
All right, so now we have controversy here. Last season we picked our top show of like the pod, and like
It's pretty
the-
split.
It's still If You Are the One. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we got a
Like-
3-way tie.
Like, yeah, we do. Do I have to pick? Is
You
this
might have
me?
to pick. I'll
Yeah.
point out that we did not go see Mark L. Wahlberg live at the club.
It's true.
I mean, if we're gonna go by the pure numbers, their Jersey Shore Family Vacation had 2 1s and a 2,
That's true.
whereas Deadliest Catch has 2 1s and Temptation Island has 2 1s. No other 2s. So I think by process of elimination, Jersey Shore, the winner of I think this season.
Prank War Champ.
Break War champion. You did it, Max.
And then
Congrats.
the worst show, I don't remember. They've already all
I mean,
left my mind.
Feed Famous is on the list.
We had
And
Chris Lee.
Opposite Worlds is on the list, and Chris Lee is on the list.
I feel like
Yeah.
Opposite Worlds seem just like from the pulse of the room, and I don't know if some of this is because some of us miss some of these bad shows,
Yeah.
so like we didn't dogpile on top of it more. But I feel like we all unanimously agree that Opposite Worlds was bad.
I haven't seen Opposite World, and like Feed Famous was just me, Chris, and Max.
Right. So like that one, I don't know. I like from hearing you guys describe it, it sounds awful, but I just haven't seen it to confirm it.
Do we have the statistics on the worst show of the season,
So,
rating wise?
how many unanimous bottom thirds do you think we got this season?
3.
3. Any other guesses?
Wait. Bottom of the bomb or just
Just top,
Bottom.
middle,
Oh.
bottom.
Oh my god, it's so specific.
Like 10.
no? 14.
14. Any other guesses besides 10 and 14?
What's counting as bottom? Like
So-
unanimous?
Unanimous bottom.
All
thirds.
people
Like,
on the pod put it in their bottom
Well,
third.
Like no, it's like 3.
3.
Yeah, I'm around 3.
Like
It's
8.
so hard to
You
get
guys are
agreement.
so wrong.
8.
The answer is 10.
No way.
Oh,
Wow.
Here's the list of unanimous bottom thirds.
hit me.
Redneck Island.
Yep.
Chris Lee Knows Best. Martha and Snoop's Potluck Dinner Party. The Proposal. Strip Search. Feed Famous. Rock of Love. Game of Clones. Opposite Worlds. Street Food.
Very fascinating that Rock of Love didn't make it onto anybody's worst list.
That's right.
It was bad, but it wasn't the worst.
But like all the ones we're talking about were unanimous bottom thirds.
I think that's the list. We just publish that list and don't watch.
I just really can't say anything other than Grizzly Knows Best. Like, it is the worst show. It might be the worst show we've ever watched.
Well, the
I missed this one. Should I go watch it?
I think it was just me, Brian, and Noah on this.
Brian was
podcast.
definitely on that one because Brian
was-
definitely talks about how much he hates that show.
I was here and I talked about earlier I was on my bottom list.
I don't remember you being there.
Okay.
I'm just saying that if you were there, I can't believe this is not on your bottom 5.
It is in my bottom 5 and I was there.
Where is it in your bottom 5?
It's third. Do you remember we talked
No,
about
I
this?
don't remember talking about this. This podcast has been going on so long. It's been like almost 2 hours.
Oh man.
we watch a lot of shit this season, okay, Chris?
There's a lot of us
Rob,
on this
this-
pod.
I don't
right
know
now.
if we can decide this. We might need to watch all 3 together and pick the worst of the worst.
Oh.
I cannot watch another episode. You guys can take it if you want it.
You want to watch another episode of Feed Famous?
Some kind of sudden death overtime.
I would rather watch another episode of Feed Famous. I promise you.
Listeners, tweet us.
So Rob,
Settle the debate.
I'm curious, how did the curve kind of work out? Do we have any sort of like where we generally we watched 50 shows this
Oh, yeah.
season? How do we kind of
Well, let me ask you
Insane.
this: how many unanimous top thirds do you think we have?
0.
One.
No. I know
gonna
Jersey
say
Shore
3.
is one of them.
4.
I'm going to go 5.
No, I'll go 4.
3. Jersey Shore Family Vacation with the unprecedented 7 top thirds.
Whoa.
Wow.
Deadliest Catch and Churchill Secret Agents.
Hey now.
There you go.
Those were the 3.
Well, the unprecedented one is our top.
You could say that. You could say that puts it over the top. Yeah.
You could, but that 7 is not me. I think that was a different 7.
You were not on the which might be. That's the thing with the unanimous tops, unanimous bottoms. It kind of depends who's on the show or not. So, who do you think gave out the most? Well, this one's too easy. Who do you think gave out the most bottom thirds this season?
Chris.
Who do you think gave out the most top thirds this season?
Annabeth.
No.
No, Harrison.
No.
Rob.
Also, Chris. Chris is just on the most. he just was on so many more. He was on every
He
episode.
just did, yeah.
He's on so many. He's the most of everything.
How was
Really?
his distribution though? of
Yeah,
the
what
three
about
buckets?
proportionally?
His distribution skews heavily bottom third.
Like, really? Because I was like, there's only like 7 top
So,
thirds or something.
Chris gave 9 top thirds, 15 middle thirds, 25 bottom thirds.
Ooh, that bottom.
Wow.
Yeah, and
our-
I'm telling you, Grizzly Knows Best is the worst.
Our overall distribution is 86 bottom thirds, 90 middle thirds, slightly more middles,
Okay.
46 top
Oh
thirds.
no.
Man. Okay.
It's heavily skewed to middle and bottom.
So are we judging negatively, or are we just watching like who in the hell is picking
We're
these
watching
shows?
I think
everything.
it's a little of both on that.
Does
I
this
think we
mean-
were watching too much love stuff, James.
Yeah, Love Month is going on way too long.
No, 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 no.
Speaking-
More
of
love.
Love Month.
Speaking of Love Month, James asked me a question of, was Love Month the lowest rated calendar month we've ever done?
No.
And so I tried to figure this out. So this is what I did was I didn't look at like the James rating of top of the top, middle of the bottom, or anything like that.
Sliding
Just
window.
Bottom third, middle third, top third, and just scored 1, 2, 3. So I averaged it out. So I'll take The Masked Singer as an example of it got 3 bottom thirds, 2 top thirds. That's 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 3 divided by 5, average out to 1.8. So slightly below average, but not terrible. So I did that. And I just kind of eyeballed where did I see clumps of low and top and high ones together, and so you can do a more intense analysis. You can say I missed one. I think I got. So Love Month scored a 1.5, which is not great,
No.
That sounds really low.
but it's not. It's saved by Annabeth's fave, Shot of Love with Tila Tequila, which had multiple top thirds and really pulled it up from the bottoms.
That's true.
Okay.
I will say that was
good.
the best of Love Month.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Was a good
Clearly.
one.
Like that was the winner of Love Month.
So
That
you-
went on for like 3 months.
You could
but-
say Love Month had a shot of love.
But then in
you could.
September 2018, we had Feed Famous,
Ugh.
which was a unanimous bottom, Million Pound Menu, Gigolos,
Oh man.
I like that.
and
show.
Teen Mom OG, which nearly got a unanimous bottom except was saved by Courtney. And so it averaged a 1.41. So that was
Oof.
our worst month.
Really? I thought Gigolos. Didn't we do middle third? Was that
Gigolos
middle
got some middle third, but like it wasn't
Gigolos?
enough to pull it up the way Tila Tequila pulled up Love Month.
A lot of people didn't like that.
I like Gigolos.
No, I thought it was a solid middle show.
I thought it was interesting, but still a bottom.
Gigolos got a unanimous middle, so it scored a
Oh.
2, but that wasn't enough to pull the whole rest of the show up. For context, Premiere Month scored a 1.96, so very close to being
Ooh.
very average middle the road. So it's like, what's our top month? November 2018.
Okay.
We only did 3 shows, and the 3 shows were Take Me Out,
Yeah.
The Joe Schmo Show, which
Okay.
was very highly rated at the time,
At the time.
and Forged in Fire.
All right.
Wow.
So averaged out to a 2.56.
Wow.
Man, that's way above average right there.
So then I went back and I was like, all right, how does this compare to season 2?
Yeah.
And season 2 had no month higher than 2.56. But it did have in September 2017, we did, again, 3 shows. So I was saying, like, we could only get 3 good shows in a month. We got Terrace House,
Yes.
Canada's Worst Driver,
Ooh.
Yep.
and then Bromans.
Oh.
And that averaged out to 2.4. So
All
not quite as
right.
good, pretty good. But in terms of the worst month was still in season 2.
Okay.
So check out this list from October 2017.
Oh, no.
So this is the month
Wait.
before that.
The month
Or-
after.
Okay.
Wait. Is this gonna have fucking Cleveland show?
No.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
the business thing.
Started
Yeah.
with Are You the One, which was not terrible, got mostly middle thirds,
It's a good show.
but was not enough to pull up this next crew. Dancing with the Stars,
Yeah.
unanimous bottom.
Yeah.
90s House,
Yo.
unanimous bottom.
Yup.
Scared Famous,
Oh.
Yup.